What's going on, Cowboy fans? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Cowboy fans, Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G. I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Got a lot of facts to talk about today. It's funny that the 3-letter and 4-letter networks, some of them are finally starting to come to the reality that I talked about 4 days ago on this channel. Talked about it 4 days ago. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. I'm not patting myself on the back. Just don't take a rocket scientist. Deion Sanders is not coming to the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't know. Maybe he still could, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. It is highly improbable. He just got one of the top quarterback recruits in the nation to commit to Colorado. And I don't believe there is no way that he gets that kid to do that, and that kid does that, and his parents allow him to do that, unless Deion tells them without a shadow of a doubt he will be in Colorado next year. And if he's not, he's going to write them a check for whatever amount he's going to write them a check for. But I'm just playing around. How's everybody doing today? We got a full show. We have a full show. Let me give you a list of topics we're going to have here for the day. A list of topics, and we'll see if we can get to all of them today. But, of course, we're going to start out with our game preview, just in case we have some of our Washington Commanders fans, in case they tune in. We don't want them to have to hang around until the end to see what we're talking about between the Cowboys and the Commanders. I'm going to give my thoughts on the Pittsburgh-Cleveland game last night. I thought it was very interesting. We'll talk a little bit about Daniel Jones, talk about something that I posted a video on already on the channel. I posted a video on the channel about it. I'll put a link in the chat in a few minutes once we get to it. We'll talk about what Stephen Jones also said on the fan. Dak Prescott on the fan, Stephen Jones on the fan, which Dak wasn't on the fan, but they were discussing Dak on the fan. We'll talk about Stephen Jones on the fan. And then we have time. We'll talk a little bit about Micah Parsons. We'll talk a little bit about Micah Parsons and his apology. So, got a lot of ground to cover today. Plus, I'll be reading some of your comments. Probably will not be able to get to all of them today if the numbers increase. But I will be also looking at some of your comments today, and we'll discuss those. Again, welcome, Lord, Daniel, LaQueen. Y'all first ones in. Appreciate you, Jura Jones. And let's get going here. We're going to be talking about the preview, talking about the Commanders versus the Cowboys. And there are some people, people are strange to me when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, especially the Dallas Cowboy fans. I mean, the Dallas Cowboy fans, to me, very strange when it comes to a lot of these discussions, because I don't know which way which way some of our fan base is leaning. I mean, some folks are running around acting like we can beat the Commanders. Some folks running around talking like they want us to beat the Commanders, and I don't understand that. I don't understand, what does it do for us to win when the season is pretty much over? What's going on, Jose? I mean, the season is over, and I don't understand why would we want to knock ourselves out of the top 10 of the draft. We're not going to crack the top 5. There are people keep talking about the top 5. I mean, it's a dream, but it's not going to happen. Just kind of looking at some of the scheduling and things of that nature, I don't think it's no way possible that it's going to happen, that the Cowboys are going to reach the top 25. The top 5 in the draft. I don't think it's going to happen. So, again, I'd like to get to this game preview about the Cowboys versus the Commanders. We're going out to Washington, and I'm telling you, people talking like it's going to be a close game and this and that. No, I'm sorry. I just think that Dan Quinn is going to be so ready, so pumped. Micah Parsons. And some people have been accusing Micah Parsons and Dan Quinn of tampering. Micah Parsons said he talks to Dan Quinn on a regular basis. Excuse me. I still say Micah Parsons talks too much. I don't think he should be telling people stuff like that. But he says he talks to Dan Quinn on a regular basis. And he said he could only imagine how pumped up. What's going on, Andre? He said he could imagine how pumped up Dan Quinn has his team. I don't have to imagine it. I don't have to imagine it. Dan Quinn got this team pumped up, y'all. Pumped up. And as it pertains to the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the incentive could be for them to beat Dan Quinn. But to me, if you can't get pumped up to say that we're not going to let somebody beat us at home, we're not going to lose for the 5th time in a row. I mean, if that don't get you pumped up, I don't know how going out to Washington and you're going to get pumped up to beat Dan Quinn in Washington. I mean, I don't understand that part. I just don't understand it. So when we look at some of the things going on with the Washington Commanders, the first thing I want to get to is I want to look at the injury report. The injury report for this game, to me, is very interesting. The injury report is very interesting, to say the least. When we look at the injury report for this game, the injury report for the Dallas Cowboys, man, I'm telling you, the Dallas Cowboys just can't get away from being injured. It's crazy to me that Marquise Bell, I believe Marquise Bell should have already been starting for the Dallas Cowboys at safety, but he hasn't been starting. But when he gets in the game, I don't know if anybody notices it. When Marquise Bell gets in the game, he flashes. I mean, he literally flashes. I mean, you're wondering, like, why is this guy not starting? I mean, what's going on? Why is he not starting? Well, we're not going to have to worry about him starting anymore. Is that Marquise Bell is out for the season. Marquise Bell is done. He's gone for the season. Some kind of shoulder issue. And let me see here. I might be able to get the play. You might remember. I remember the play, and pretty gruesome injury. Yeah, he's basically looks like he's got a separated shoulder or some sort, and they're saying it's not just something regular that they're talking about here. Let's pull it up here. Looks like the Cowboys Wire, they are reporting that the highly praised Cowboys safety out for the season may require surgery after gruesome injury. And so I think we can look at it right here. This is the play that happened on, if you can see it on the screen. Ooh. Yeah, I remember that play. Right here. See how weird that came down? Now, I don't know if any of you ever played football on turf, but playing on turf is basically like playing, in a sense, on your living room carpet. It's like playing, if your living room has carpet, it's like playing on that. And so some of the times, if you mess around and fall the wrong way on that turf, I mean, it ended my son's one of his high school seasons, wound up fouling on it the wrong way, going for an interception. Wound up fouling that thing and breaking it, man. I mean, just snap. Him and as a matter of fact, I think on the same night, 3 of their players, they were not used to playing on turf. We played on grass. It was cold. Fell on that turf the wrong way. All 3 of them broke their collarbones that night. And so Marquise Bell, unfortunately, is gone, y'all. Marquise Bell is gone for the season. And I think it's really sad because I think that Marquise Bell has been underutilized by the Dallas Cowboys for the entire season. I just don't understand it. He's been totally underutilized. And so even if we wanted to utilize him, which I don't understand why we'd want to utilize him, as far as winning the game, but I definitely would have liked to have seen him playing the game, but he will not be playing for the rest of the season. What's going on, No Cap? No Cap says 49ers have joined in the race for the top 5 pick. Purdy, Bosa, and Trent all out for the Sunday, but big game from Christian McCaffrey and Kittle will get us the upset versus the Packers. Hey, man, I'm going to tell you just like I told them Cowboy fans today on X. You, the 49ers, us, nor the Cowboys are in the top 5 race. If you got more than three wins right now, you're out of that top 5 race. You're pretty much out. The Cowboys have 3 losses, and they're still haven't cracked that thing, even with the Cleveland Browns. And we'll get to that later on in the show. Even with the Cleveland Browns winning, even with the Cleveland Browns winning, they're still not in there. The Cowboys have fallen into some weird tiebreakers, y'all. And it's not just the record that the Cowboys are going to have to overcome. The Cowboys are going to have to overcome the tiebreakers. And I just don't know if they're going to be able to overcome the tiebreakers if they wind up tied with teams at three wins. But I can tell you right now, y'all, we're going to talk about it later, but I'm willing to bet you the Cowboys are getting their first win at home against the New York Giants. Brian Daboll knows the assignment. You better not win the game. I mean, that's the assignment. You better not win the game against the Dallas Cowboys. The New York Giants are in the New York Giants are in the race for a quarterback, y'all. And even if Deion Sanders tries to block Shedeur Sanders from going to the New York Giants, if I'm the New York Giants, in actuality, that's right up my alley. That's up my alley. I hope Deion tries to block Shedeur Sanders from coming to the New York Giants. If I'm the New York Giants and I get the second pick overall in the draft, the Jaguars look like they could get the number 2, but I was looking at their schedule, and if we have time today, I will look at these teams' remaining schedules. And if I don't look at it today, matter of fact, what I'm going to do tomorrow, I was working on it today, but I'll finish it up. I'm going to put together a graph that just shows you like what all the games these teams have remaining and what's the probability of them winning. And looking at the top 5 right now, the strange thing is that the Jaguars, the Titans, and the Raiders, they all have to play each other. So they're going to be battling for who remains in that 1, 2, and 3 spot. And if one of those teams mess around, like the Jaguars, they mess around and win 2, you win 2 games, you're out of the top 5. You're out of the top 5 if you win more than 3 games. I do think that the top 5 will probably be boiled down to all of the 3-win teams. It'll be boiled down to the 3-win teams. They'll be battling for it. And so that's what we're going to see. But let's continue. We'll talk about that later. Marquise Bell is out for the Dallas Cowboys, y'all. Marquise Bell is 100% out for the Dallas Cowboys. And on this thing also is none other than Zach Martin. Wow. Zach Martin has not practiced for the last 3 days. And they got him as doubtful. I would dare say Zach Martin's going to be out. Zach Martin is going to be out for the Dallas Cowboys, which I hate that, but I am excited because I do think it will allow the Cowboys to move around their line, and maybe we'll get a glimpse of, okay, what are we looking like without Zach Martin, and what do we need to, if we need to get something in the draft? Because the Cowboys got Guyton. I think they're going to move him over to the right. They have BB. And there's a lot of talk in the draft. People are talking about the Cowboys should go O-line again. I'm very concerned about the Cowboys going O-line again because it just has not been working out. They've been going O and D, and they have not yet to work out. And if you'll notice, one of the best players we have is the last time we drafted pretty much in the first round on offense, CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys need to go skill positions in the first and the second round. If you want to O or D lineman, get him in the third. Get him in the third round, man. Stop trying to always get him in the first round. Or why don't you see what's available in see what's available in free agency? And if there's someone available in free agency, man, you're going to have, I'm telling y'all, we'll talk about this later on in the season. The Cowboys are literally going to have $100 million plus, $100 million plus in salary cap space. They're going to flip that switch on Dak Prescott's contract, flip it on CeeDee Lamb's contract. They'll probably flip something on Trayvon Diggs. They'll cut Terrence Steele. I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if they cut Terrence Steele. They're going to cut one of the safeties. I can't remember which one it is. They can cut him as a either a pre or post June 1st. Either way, watch what I tell you. The Cowboys are going to have all these people that have been talking all this nonsense about Dak Prescott's contract. You're going to find out they did exactly what they were supposed to do. That Dak's contract was designed that they were always going to extend it. That's what folks don't understand. Dak's contract was designed to be extended. It was designed in that way. And even though Jerry, we can say he did it reluctantly or whatever he did, no, it was supposed to be done that way. And even this contract is designed, y'all. It's designed to flip switches, to get cap space. And as that contract matures, the Cowboys won't be able to get from up under that contract at least until 2027. And that'll be the end of 2027. I mean, Todd Francis, man, him and Dak Prescott, boy, they made that contract ironclad, man. They made that thing to the point that it don't work unless Dak plays. And if it don't work, they're still going to be giving Dak in excess of $180 million if they try to pull something fast on Dak Prescott and not have him in Dallas. But I don't think that's the case. I think they knew exactly what they were doing. Dak is going to be the Dallas Cowboys quarterback for the next 3 years. And do not be surprised that if Dak is still playing at a high level, Dak gets an extension of some sort. He'll give them I don't know if it'll be the Tom Brady, maybe it'll be the Patrick Mahomes type of deal to where that cap number will lower. They'll extend it out a little bit further, and Dak might even play out an additional 2 years. I wouldn't be surprised if Dak is with the Cowboys until he's 36 years old. Appreciate you, Wicked. Yes, y'all hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Yeah, Daniel, Bell should be on season IR right now. I don't know why the Cowboys kind of procrastinate doing this kind of stuff, but yes, he will be on there pretty soon. The Joe Boo Poo has put a curse on Jerry Poo. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Jay Army says, I want to see the Cowboys win a Super Bowl so bad. 2026. Book it. Dallas Cowboys 2026, I believe, is the Super Bowl season. I don't think next year is, Jay Army. Next year, we'll see the exponential improvement of the Cowboys. I believe 2027 is the Cowboys Super Bowl season, and I'm putting. I'm not saying I don't know if I'm putting. I don't gamble, but I say book it. 2027. Jay Oman says I want the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl so bad. I wasn't around when they won it in the 90s. I was for sure, man. It shut Texas down for sure. And this is literally the worst Cowboys season I've ever watched. Like it looks like they're not even trying. I'm telling you. I talked about this in my Dak Prescott video. They're not trying. I don't think, and I don't want to say they're not trying, but I'm telling you, the more I listen to how they all talk about this team, even Dak Prescott, how they all talk about this team, it's like Jerry Jones sat them down in a room and told them what the plan was, told them what the plan is. And it's a reason why, this is why Micah Parsons needs to be quiet, because Micah Parsons can't seem to talk without revealing things. But you'll notice when they ask Micah Parsons about Mike McCarthy, and he's talking like he's not concerned about Mike McCarthy. He can go get a job anywhere. Okay, you just told us he's gone. That's number one. Number two, the guys who I feel sorry for is Zach Martin. Okay, so you know it's in the plans not to bring back Zach Martin next year, and there are going to be a lot of players gone next year, and then y'all are going to hit full, and not really full rebuild. We can't really call the Cowboys a full rebuild. A full rebuild is when you don't have your quarterback, and whether people like Dak Prescott or not, the Dallas Cowboys have their quarterback. They've already made their decision on their quarterback. So Dak is going to be their quarterback. They have CeeDee Lamb, 3 years. Micah Parsons, got to see how they're going to work that out, because I don't think they should pay him as a high-paid D end, but they're going to pay Micah Parsons. They got Demarion Overshown. They got Deron Bland. They have pieces that a team that's rebuilding does not have. So the Cowboys, I heard someone talking about this today on another show. I don't think people understand something. The Cowboys are literally a handful of players away. And they weren't talking about that, the handful of players. Their question was, could one player come in Dallas and change life? Yes. You better believe one player. What? Dak Prescott with a running game, even with this team, is winning. With this team. With this team, y'all. Dak Prescott is winning with this team and a running game. He is. He is. He's winning with this team. The Cowboys, I promise y'all, I can't see the future. They're gonna get Dak Prescott a running game. You can book it. You can book it. And what they didn't want is that they didn't want an older running back, which I don't think there would have been anything wrong with getting an older running back, but I think the Cowboys want a running back. Now, watch this. Dak's offseason is going to be vital. Dak's got to be very careful. There's a lot of money invested in Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott has got to make sure his rehab is absolutely flawless. Not only must his rehab be absolutely flawless, Dak Prescott must go get him a track coach. Do what Patrick Mahomes does. He has someone who literally works him out. Now I see why he can run the way that he does. Lamar Jackson, I've already said it. Best runner in the NFL. Most exciting. Best runner. Josh Allen as a quarterback, scariest running quarterback in the league because he's so big, so strong. Smartest running quarterback in the league is Patrick Mahomes. Hands down, Patrick Mahomes. He's not the biggest. He's not the fastest. He's not the scariest. He's not the slowest. But he's skillful enough. Patrick Mahomes destroys teams. Patrick Mahomes breaks games open. He is literally a part of the running game. And while I don't want Dak to be a part of the running game per se, but with the injury that he suffered, get you a track coach. Get you a track coach. Get him to help you to be ready to run this next coming season. Not ready to run for 100 yards, but be ready to run. That when you can run, you can run, get out of bounds. You can run, you can slide, you can do all of those things. You can scramble. Because I'm telling you, something wasn't right. And I think some of these people who were in the comments might have been on to something because something wasn't right about Dak Prescott. And then he waits until the Falcon game and he starts trying to run. And he tears that thing almost off the bone. So I digress. I want to finish up the injury report. We got all the time in the world to talk about stuff like, well, we got about 3 hours to talk about stuff like that. But injury report. Zach Martin, done. I want to see what the line looks like without Zach Martin. I'm excited about this. Jake Ferguson, concussion, and it seems like I saw it. They were saying it was a toe. Jake Ferguson looked like he's going to be out too, but the other tight ends that stepped in his stead, they looked pretty good. Marshawn Nealon, questionable. The only reason why I would like to see Marshawn Nealon come back is because he is a part of the plan going forward. Nealon is a part of the plan going forward, and I think Nealon is looking promising. He will be the D-Law replacement. He's not the edge rusher we need, y'all. Nealon is not the edge rusher we need, but Nealon is the D-Law replacement we need because D-Law not coming back next year. Yeah, D-Law done. He's not coming back next year. And then, of course, it looks like Brandon Cooks. He's questionable, and it sounds like he could make his debut this week. We'll see about Brandon Cooks. I'm kind of like, when I start seeing it, I'm kind of like, okay, are they trying to win the game? I mean, what are we doing here, y'all? I'm like, what are we doing here? I want us to be evaluating. I would actually see, this is why I would have traded Brandon Cooks at the trade deadline. I want to see what Flournoy. I need to see more Ryan Flournoy. That's what I need to see more of. I need to see Jonathan Mingo. You spent this 4th round draft pick on him. And some say that might actually turn out to be a 3rd round draft pick in a sense. I want to see what he looks like. I really do. I want to see what Mingo looks like. I want to see what Brandon Cook. I want to see what Mingo. I want to see more Flournoy. Brandon Cooks, great guy, great in the locker room. Should have traded him. Don't understand what in the world you're bringing him back for. Don't understand it. Andre Mosley. What's going on, Dre? Yes. I'm telling y'all, I'm just built different. When teams, if I know that a team has circled a player on their draft board, because this stuff kind of gets around, they get to talking. And I'm looking at my team, and I'm listening to Deion Sanders. I'm looking at my team, and I'm listening to Deion Sanders. Doesn't want his son to play in a cold weather market. I'm in a cold weather market. I'm the first team up. That needs a quarterback. I got a strange feeling that if it's the Panthers, we could be shocked. We're thinking that the Panthers, they get Travis Hunter. We're thinking New York, they get Shedeur Sanders. I'm going to tell you what I would do if I was both of those teams. I'm built different. You're clamoring for Travis Hunter? We want him too. But what are you willing to give us for him? What are you willing to give up? Because if I'm evaluating the draft, this is my thought process. Okay. So Shedeur will probably be the number 1 quarterback taken. So what's the drop off from Shedeur to the next quarterback? What's the drop off from Shedeur to the next quarterback? And then when I look at Travis Hunter, y'all have to understand something. Travis Hunter is playing. What is that conference? What, Pac-12 or whatever it is? He's not playing in the SEC going both ways, y'all. Those are pro players. They are literally pro players when you step up into that. I think it's the SEC if I'm saying it right. Y'all got to forgive me. I don't really follow college football the way some of y'all do. But the SEC, those are the pro players. He's not doing that with the pro players. He's not doing that against that consistent type of competition every week. And so some people, they're looking at Travis Hunter like, man, he's a freak. Yeah, he's a freak. He's a freak athlete. But you got to decide where you're going to play him. Is he really big enough to play wide receiver in the league? Is he going to be a gadget guy in the league? Or are you going to say, we're going to commit you to cornerback, which I think that's probably where he should play, is cornerback. And then in his first 3 to 4 seasons, you say, hey, we're going to give you like 4 or 5 series a game. We'll give you 4 or 5 series a game and let you play wide receiver. I mean, you should. That's what they did with Deion Sanders, in the Dallas years. But if I know teams really want Travis Hunter that bad, so here's my next question. So what's the drop-off from Travis Hunter as it applies to cornerback if that's where I'm primarily going to play him? What's the drop-off? Because if he's playing corner, then he really can't be a wide receiver for me as in full-time. So to me, I block that out of my mind. So what's the drop-off at corner? What's the next level? If I look at him at wide receiver, okay, I'm going to play him at wide receiver, solely a wide receiver, and I may put him in situationally at cornerback. Okay, I'll block him out of my mind as the cornerback. So now I look at wide receiver. What's the drop-off at wide receiver? So that's my plan. I'm saying, okay, so y'all want these dudes that bad? I'm going to give you exactly what you want, and I'm going to take your next 3 first-round draft picks. I'll take your next 3. Or I'll take your next two number 1s and your next 2 number 3s. I'll take your next 2 drafts. Give them to me. You want Travis Hunter that bad? I'm shopping, y'all. I'm shopping to get more. I'm not falling. And I'm going to tell you what kind of got me in this mindset. I'm not falling for the Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence nonsense anymore of generational players. I'm not falling for that nonsense no more. I'm not falling for it. They just got rid of Daniel Jones. They cut Daniel Jones off the New York Giants. Well, go look at Trevor Lawrence's. Go look at Trevor Lawrence's first 50 games. Go look at his. Because if you cut Daniel Jones, then what in the heck are you doing with Trevor Lawrence? The heck are you doing? What are you doing with Trevor Lawrence? Generational player. My son still teased me about it. I said he was going to be a generational quarterback. No way I'd pass him up. They were saying the same thing about Caleb Williams. Generational quarterback. Anybody see what the Chicago Bears look like right now? If I'm on that board and Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders come up, I know the Las Vegas Raiders want Shedeur Sanders, and I think that's the best place for him. I'm going to trade back to the Raiders. And I'm going to get what Andre Mosley just said here. I'm going to get Cam Ward. I'm going to get Cam Ward as my quarterback for the New York Giants. And now I got draft capital to build around Cam Ward. Okay, I just picked up another couple of draft picks. Not only in next year's and the next year's, but I might even get me one in this one. So I'm gonna get me Cam Ward, and then I'll go get me a running back to go with him. The New York Giants need a running back, so I'll get Cam Ward and a running back for Shedeur Sanders this year, and I'm gonna build my line around Cam Ward next year. I'll do the same thing with Travis Hunter. That's what I would do, because so many people, they clamor for these players. They clamor for these players, and so I'm saying the same thing with the Cowboys. You know, if I'm the Cowboys, if I get really close to that top 5 and I can get Ashton Genty, or I can get the wide receiver, I think from Auburn, if I can get one of those guys and not have to, and I can trade back because somebody is clamoring for somebody that might be at my draft spot, you better believe I'm finna get me some more draft picks. But again, that's the injury report for the Dallas Cowboys. Zach Martin, I mean, none of these to me are really major. I don't think they're going to impact the game either way. I don't think it's going to impact the game either way. I think it's a good opportunity, though. We get to see a different look on the line, and I'm here for all the smoke. And then for the Washington Commanders, they look fully staffed for us, y'all. The only one out that I saw was major. Marshawn Lattimore, he's out. I mean, they gave up the farm for him, and he probably won't even be able to contribute to the last quarter of the season. But, boy, Dan Quinn must have really loved him some Marshawn Lattimore. That's all I can tell you. But I'm not giving up that much for a cornerback that old. I mean, God, man, come on, man. Unless you're going for a Super Bowl run, y'all got to think about how crazy Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders are for doing this. You gave up all that for Marshawn Lattimore? Marshawn Lattimore, not Deion Sanders? He's not Darrelle Revis. I mean, he's not even Richard Sherman, y'all. Richard Sherman was a great corner. He's not Richard Sherman. I'm just sorry. I'm not giving up all that, and especially with Marshawn Lattimore, seems to be always hurt. I mean, there's just no way I'm doing it. But again, he won't be able to contribute. He will not be able to contribute for the Washington Commanders, and so he's out. Doesn't matter. They've been playing without him the whole season. And so let's now get into, let me go backwards. Let's get into the storylines for the game. Storylines for the game.
Here we go.
This is the biggest storyline of the week. And this game could easily have been game of the week had the Cowboys been winning. This would be easily the game of the week. Dan Quinn's first game against Dallas. He's excited, y'all. He's excited. Y'all don't understand. I bet you teams have grudges against the Cowboys. I bet you Dan Quinn has a grudge against the Cowboys, because I bet you that Dan Quinn himself is saying, Jerry Jones cheated me out of a Super Bowl run. If Jerry Jones would have just got me Bobby Wagner, got me a linebacker, so we wouldn't have to play safeties at linebacker, we could have went on a run and probably, who knows what the Cowboys would have done if they'd have beat the Green Bay Packers? Who knows? I bet you Dan Quinn's still mad about this. I'm not going to be surprised if Bobby Wagner has 15 tackles against the Dallas Cowboys, as well as tackle Jerry Jones if he sees him down on the field before the game. I'm telling y'all, Dan Quinn, I guarantee you, he got this defense fired up. He got this defense fired up, y'all. I guarantee you. And the question is, are the Cowboys trying to win? I don't know what they're trying. I mean, the way they're talking is like, oh yeah, we're trying to win. I don't believe they're trying to win. Next storyline is, will Mike run Rico 25 times? We're still waiting to see it. Is Mike McCarthy going to run the ball, y'all? I mean, will he run Rico 25 times? He said he's no longer running back by committee. So when are we going to see Rico run 25 times? And again, they've been talking about Trey Lance. The Mingo package last week, the Mingo package obviously was not good. We didn't get to see what the Mingo package looked like, because if you're talking about getting in on a couple of series, you shaming yourself. Shame on you, that's not the Mingo package. But will we see a quote-unquote Mingo package this week? And I do believe we are going to see Trey Lance. We are going to see Trey Lance. What's going on, Nisi? I see you down here in the chat. I'll get to y'all in a moment. What's going on, Nisi? What's going on, Revelation? Tired Cowboy fan, no cap. What's going on, everybody? 70, it's good to see you in here. Darrell Carter, Jay Recruiter, what's going on? Big Hinton, Lawn Service. Okay, good to see you in here. All right. I'll get to y'all in a moment. Lord, of course, I spoke to you, but good to see you once again. And so this, to me, is the biggest storyline of this game. Dan Quinn's first game against the Cowboys. That joker going to be fired up, man. That joker going to be fired up against the Cowboys. He is. He is going to be fired up. And so look at the story. I mean, look at what the offense here, what the offense has to do, the offensive keys. It hurt me to put Cooper Rush's picture up there. Not because I don't like Cooper Rush, but because it's just another reminder that Dak Prescott is out. And let me read a couple comments, and then I'm going to jump back into this, the keys to the game, because they're really, when you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, it's pretty boring as far as the keys to the game, because the keys to the game are the same every week. They just won't do them. They just won't do the keys. They just keep leaving the keys at home. Tired Cowboy fan. Shador going to Vegas. Yep. He's going to Vegas. Cam Ward to the New York Giants. Yep, more than likely. And I think it's a great fit. I think it's a great fit for the New York Giants. Big-bodied quarterback. I think he's going to be perfect for him. Hunter to the Jags. Yep, book it. I would not be surprised if they go ahead and get Travis Hunter, because people don't realize something. It's a travesty that the Jaguars are losing. They actually have a squad. How in the world are they losing? What is going on with the Jaguars? But they managed to get themselves in the top of the draft. And we'll see if they can remain at the number one spot, because I tell you who I think is going to be number one, New York Giants. Because I looked at the Jaguars schedule, and it looks like they got the Tennessee Titans on that thing twice. Las Vegas Raiders on there once. They're probably, unless they just roll over, y'all, they're probably going to win a couple games. I mean, I could see them splitting one of those games with Tennessee, and I can tell you now the Raiders ain't winning. The Raiders, they know the assignment. They're not winning. They know the assignment. They're not going to win. So I'm not going to be surprised if the Giants get the number one spot. And if I'm them, I'm not picking Cam Ward. You're going to trade me the Shador Sanders pick, and then I'm going to get Cam Ward. I'm telling y'all, if the Raiders don't get that number one pick and I'm the Giants, I can tell you up front, I'm about to own the Raiders a couple of their first round draft picks. I'm about to own them joints, because I know Tom Brady is over there on the Raiders. He might be a 5% stake in the team, but you better believe he's going to carry a big stick. He's going to carry a lot of influence. They're going to be listening to him. And I bet you Dion and Tom Brady, they're already talking. I want you to bring my son in and take care of him. Gotcha, Dion. Yeah, I'm telling you, you're dead on. I believe that's where he's going. If we get Abdul Carter or Mason Graham in the first round, it will go a long way for the defense long term. Yeah. Okay, I'm not familiar with those names. Is one of those the guys? Is one of those the guys from Penn State? No Cap said I would draft Sanders regardless of what his daddy wants, and if he refuses to play, then he's going to have to sit out his entire NFL. Your dad is a legend, not you're nobody to act like that. You know what? But I'm gonna tell you something. No Cap, for me, nah. I'm gonna use him. I'm gonna use him to get exactly what I want. I'm definitely gonna get him, but I'm gonna trade him. I'm gonna build a whole nother draft off of Shedeur Sanders because I'm telling y'all about these people, about these teams and these quarterbacks, y'all. When they get their eyes on a quarterback, they give up crazy stuff for him. I mean, literally crazy stuff. So if you're gonna give up a draft, I'll take it. I'll take it, man. When people get loony over a player like that, hey, man, I'm sorry. I'm about to look at what's below them. What's the drop-off? Because if they're willing to give me a couple of drafts, man, I don't care if you tell me this player a generational player or not. I'm trading them. Because I'm going to tell you, we got to question whether or not Shedeur Sanders is a generational player. And I think we need to be careful about throwing around that generational player stuff again. I mean, because I'm telling you, I've learned my lesson. I think we got to be real careful with that. I mean, let's think about it. The beloved Troy Aikman. Was he a generational player? Was Troy Aikman a generational player? Now, let's get out of our feelings. Does anybody not realize when life changed for Troy Aikman? The Herschel Walker trade. Jimmy Johnson as the coach. I've already showed it on here. I'm going to show it again in the offseason. The drop-off of Troy Aikman after Jimmy Johnson and after that 95 Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The drop-off was insane. I don't care who you are. You need players around you. And Shedeur Sanders has had a treasure trove of players. He's 5'6" deep at the wide receiver spot at Colorado, y'all. He 2-3 deep at the running. He 2 deep at least at the running back spot, y'all. Well, we won't talk about the tight ends they're barely using. Got a good tight end over there. Colorado deep offensively. He won't be that deep in the pros. Now, he comes to the New York Giants. It would probably be a blessing for him, but he ain't going to do it. Because they already got the wide receiver. I think somebody mentioned them neighbors. Surely they're going to add another wide receiver in New York. He's going to mess around and go to the Raiders, and it's going to probably take him 2 or 3 years to build around him. Wicked says, please make another channel for the Steelers. Give your opinions and facts about the team. Hey, we're going to talk about them in a few. The current Steelers sector of creators are pure dumpster juice. You would take market overnight. Okay, you know what? I'm going to hold you on that. I'm going to do some research, and then I'm going to see what I can do. Excuse me. Big Hinton Lawn Service. Great work, brother. Hey, man, where you located, Big Hinton? Where's your lawn service located at? Tired Cowboys fans, if we get O-line, I'm breaking the nearest thing next to. If we get man, tired Cowboy. I do not want the Cowboys to go in there and do another O-lineman or D-lineman, man. Get a skill position. Look at CeeDee Lamb. Man, you can't miss on those guys in the top 10. Them guys are great. What's going on, Sedmans? He said, I'm glad to join the live show. Yes, sir. Glad you're in here, too. Cowboys need to draft Ashton Jeanty. Yes, and yes. And I'm going to tell you this. And I also think they need to be real clever. Kind of get the temperature of the room around you and see how far can you go back. How far can you go back and get Ashton Jeanty? Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I know this might make a few people upset. But I think there are some other running backs in that draft that might be just as good. Not as Genty, but be just as good for the Cowboys as Genty. I'm just being honest with y'all. I'm very biased when it comes to players, certain positions. Anybody who's been listening to me, I tell you now, I want a wide receiver. I'm sorry. I don't deal. I mean, Brandon Cooks, great work ethic, great guy, seems to be a great man, great leader in the locker room. I don't deal in. If I was a GM, I don't deal in small wide receivers. I don't deal in small wide receivers. You got to be 6'2" and above for me. And if you 6'1", you better be 4'4", 4'3". You better be 220, 6 feet. I'm sorry, you better be 4'2", 40, and that ain't happening. I want bigger wide receivers. Running back, Genty's great. I actually want a big running back. I want a 6'2" guy. I want a 6'2" guy running back. I want a guy that when you give him the ball, cornerbacks are going to fear when he run around the corner. They're going to fear him. When he run around the corner, they're going to have to make a business decision. That's the kind of running back I want. Those smaller guys, Genty, he got some size, a little bit shorter, but he got some size on him. He's pretty shifty. But I'm careful now. I'm just going to have to start being more careful. I think all of us are. When we start talking about these generational players, man, you know what? If I'm in line for a generational player and the person behind me want him, what you going to give up for him? Because I want to study what's the next guy looking like. What's the drop-off? What's the drop-off behind Genty? What are these SEC guys? I mean, where are the SEC running backs? I mean, what are they looking like? What's the next guy behind him, SEC? I mean, we looked at it the other day. I mean, I'm going to take some players behind him. I would. Oh, you want Genty? Here, you have him. I'm still going to get me a running back in the first round. But now, not only am I going to get me a running back, now I'm going to get me an extra pick. Maybe they'll give up their second, and maybe they'll give me their second for him. Oh, okay, you can take him. I'll get your pick plus your second. Now, I got me a wide receiver and a running back. You got to play the game, man. The Cowboys, they need to play the game well this year. They need to play the game well. The Cowboys have drafted in the top 10. If they get a lineman in the top 10, that's Joe All type of talent. Picking in the 20s is a big difference. It is. You got to get the skill positions in the top 10. You do. And I think you can get linemen in the later rounds. You can't. I think you can get them in the later rounds. Having Cooks and Nealon back from injury is huge for now. For not now, but for the long term also. We may not need Cooks next year, but at least he's going to show up for a new contract. I would have traded him. I would have traded Brandon Cooks. You're not going to keep him. His money, his cap hit's going to be too much. Is there nothing you can do with him next year? No Cap said 49ers and Cowboys have down seasons. Will be blessing in disguise. Well, yep. We'll get a top pick. Yep. And I'm going to tell y'all something about Kyle Shanahan. Y'all keep playing with my man Kyle Shanahan. People talking about the 49ers might get rid of Kyle Shanahan. He's the problem. I wish they would. Man, I'll drive over to the Cowboys. I'll drive to the Star. Jerry, don't you dare let Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan hit the market. He better be at Jerry Jones' house eating nachos and drinking soda pop. Wicked said, me 270. You see, I put in my Make-A-Wish question. Let me see here. Okay. You talking about being in that top 10. Yeah. Stephen Jones admitted Trey Lance was a replacement playing for Dak Prescott. You better believe he was. He ain't telling me something I didn't know. He ain't telling us nothing we didn't know. But you know what? And that's the very reason why Dak didn't give him the contract discount. That's the very reason why I didn't give it to him. I wouldn't have gave it to him either. You Prince and Trey Lance all up in the living room. I'm the wife. I'm the wife. You done got you a side chick like you finna replace me. Oh, you finna replace me? Okay. I'm gonna show you what the makeup gonna look like. Y'all ever known somebody to cheat on somebody? You ever seen what the makeup look like? Men go almost broke. Men be working 2 jobs, 3 jobs trying to make up to that wife, buying everything. Okay. The makeup gonna be crazy. That's what he did to him. 49ers 2026 champs, book it. Kirk Cousins retires a champ. Kirk Cousins. Y'all, you think y'all getting, man? Hey, I'm booking Dallas Cowboys 2026 Cowboys chip for sure. What's up, D-Rail? Cowboys can be Super Bowl contenders next year. They will be. They need to attack free agency aggressively and have another good draft. They will contend next year. Jerry got a plan. As crazy as I know I may sound crazy. I think Jerry got a plan. And the plan was, okay, I got to make sure Mike McCarthy is a failure. I got to make sure Mike McCarthy is a failure. I cannot allow Mike McCarthy to get another 12-win season. I got to make sure he's a failure. I got to make sure. Because if I'm going to do it the way we're going to try and do it, because people have said that Jimmy is on this advisory board. So I want to see how is this going to come to fruition? Jay Army says, I have to ask you this. If Zach Morton is gone and we have the draft, who is the best right guard the Cowboys can pick up that will help the O-line? I would not be so quick to run and get that person in the draft. I think they need to wait and see what's going to be available in free agency, or what does the trade wire look like? Maybe someone will put someone out there. I don't think they need to try and always try to get everything in the draft. I think that's one of the problems. Big Hinton says evidently Dak's offseason training is poor and not putting income in training like LeBron. Big Hinton? I said this weeks ago. Said it last week, matter of fact. Dak Prescott is at the point in his career that he needs to be spending $1 million a year on his body. It's chump change. It's chump change with the money he's making now. If Dak wants to play into his 40s, because quarterbacks today can play in their 40s. Easy. At least 240. You might not hit 41, 42, but at least you can get to 40. Oh, no, I'm going to spend $1 million a year. I'm the product. And before I become, people are saying Dak's injury prone. I don't know. I don't believe he is. I think Dak's been having some freak accidents. I'm going to spend $1 million on my body. I am going to spend $1 million on my body. I am. I'm going to come back to your comments here in a moment. So the Cowboys this week, it's a broken record. They got to run the ball. It's the only chance they have. And I don't care if it's not effective. I keep saying this, and people don't understand what I'm saying. You don't run the ball to have a dominant run game. You run the ball so you can dominate the game. Now, if you'll notice, even what the Cowboys did last week, they did a little bit of it, but not enough. They had the Texans kind of second-guessing if it was going to be a run or a pass. And that's what was able to get them some of those separation passes like they got to Kevontae Turpin on that 64-yard pass. You got to stay committed to the run. Because if you'll stay committed to the run, even if it's not being effective, some folks say, well, it's not getting enough yards, it's not effective. It's not about it getting yards. It's about you telling that team, no matter what you do, I'm going to run the ball. And if you go to sleep on me, I'm going to bust a long one on you. I'll hit you for a 25-yarder. I'll hit you for a 15-yarder if you go to sleep on me. I'm going to keep you always understanding I'm going to run the ball. And you have to keep teams in that mode, because if you don't keep them in that mode, then once you get behind, the game is over. The game is over once they get behind. And then once you get behind, then you lose the time of possession. And then once you lose the time of possession, before you know it, you look up on the scoreboard, it's 17-13. You look up there again, it's 34-13. You got to run the ball. And so the Cowboys, they got to run this ball. They're going to have to run this ball 25 times. And I do believe Mike McCarthy, shame on you, talking about Cooper Rush, has earned the right to be the – man, stop it. Do y'all understand the game the Cowboys are playing? The Cowboys don't want to admit it. They're playing the draft game, y'all. And I'm here for every last game. I'm here for it. I don't know what all these other I find it so hard to be a Cowboy. Not me. I don't find it hard to be a Cowboys fan. You know what? It just comes times. I mean, you know what? If you make a decision, you're going to have to live with it. If you make the decision that you're going to blow the team up, if you're going to have what I call a planned demolition, you're not doing a total rebuild, but you're saying, I don't like some of the things I'm seeing. So I need to kind of do a little retooling here. Well, if I'm going to do that, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to live with it. We're going to have to live with that's what the Cowboys are doing. We're going to have to live with it. And you know what they're actually saying with Cooper Rush without saying it? He gives us the best chance of not winning. Been saying it. I've been trying to tell people about Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush was a product of the perfect storm in 2022. But as the defenses got better and the teams got better, what we're seeing is what we're seeing. He is what he is. Career backup, mid-level. He's not top up echelon. He's not an upper echelon backup, because if he was, he wouldn't be with the Cowboys. Some team would have already said that if he was a top 5 backup quarterback, some team would have already said, hey, we'll take him and let him be a bridge quarterback for a rookie quarterback. Somebody would have already said it. But what the Cowboys are actually telling us, y'all, is Cooper Rush is their best opportunity not to win. What has he done the last 2 weeks? What has he done? Okay, he threw for more yards, 55 times, 348 yards, which was absolutely ludicrous. But what does he keep doing week after week? Fumble, interception. Fumble, interception. And you're going to see it again against the Washington Commanders. I will not be shocked if he fumbles the ball twice against the Washington Commanders, because I'm telling y'all, do we not realize what kind of defense Dan Quinn ran in Dallas? I'm laughing at folk talking about, we got to change. Do we not understand the defense that Dan Quinn? Now, if you're going to run the ball, guess what? You got a chance against Dan Quinn. You got a chance. But if you're going to play around and not run the ball, you have no chance. You have no chance against Dan Quinn. And once he gets ahead of you, you literally have no chance against Dan Quinn. Cooper Rush is going to be running for his life. And that's one of the reasons why I believe you are going to see Lance sooner than later. They don't want to play Lance a whole game. I'm telling y'all, I don't know if anybody else paid attention to this. Trey Lance's sense of urgency in that Eagles game. Trey Lance was playing on a different gear. He was in a different gear than everyone else. He was in a different gear than everybody on the Cowboys team. You mess around and get this dude up in there, and you mess around and get Trey Lance up in here, man. Trey Lance will be running and throwing all over the field. Even the pass he threw to Tolbert, that was the perfect pass. Tolbert never turned around for it. He turns around, he probably gets it, or at least gets the pass interference. They don't want to let Trey Lance play a whole game, y'all. They don't want to let Trey Lance start playing. This is my theory. I could be totally wrong. I don't think they want Trey Lance to start playing entire games until they know exactly, or more likely than not, where they're going to be in that draft order. Because Cleveland losing has them licking their fingers. They're like, okay, we lose another game, and some more folk lose some games this week. Cowboys might move up a couple of more spots. Cooper Rush gives them the best chance of losing, and they know it. Absolutely know it's a travesty. I don't know. I guess you got to front and act like it's not true, but it's true. He's their best opportunity to lose and not winning. We're all watching Cooper Rush. If you got a defense that can halfway get after the quarterback, Cooper Rush is a sitting duck. But I do think they're going to go to Lance. I think they should go to Lance if they want to win the game. I'm saying all of this if they want to win the game. They need to go to Lance quickly. Don't wait till the fourth quarter. Go to him in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. Let him get into a rhythm of some sort. You need to get Mingo in on some sweeps. Let him run some deep balls. Let's see what he's got. Let's see what he has. You got a brand new toy, man. Bring him out. Bring him out. Let's see what he is. I'd rather see him than Brandon Cooks. I would. They're going to have to stop the penalties. The penalties are killing them. Got to stop the penalties. And they got to have no turnovers. It's not going to be possible, though. It is not going to be possible for the Cowboys not to have turnovers because Cooper Rush is going to be the quarterback. I'm sorry. I'm not being mean. He's the quarterback. He is going to have some turnovers because as quick as they say his release is, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's not quick. They're either going to strip sack. It's going to be strip sack fumbles or it's going to be interceptions. Jay Army says, I have to ask you if this. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. We already got that one. Big Hinton says, yeah, Dak. Yeah. He's going to turn his training up. The quarterback for Alabama. Yes. Especially if you want a Lamar Jackson type quarterback. Jalen Moore, and he's got an arm too. He looks way better than everybody thought he was. Okay, yeah, Big 12, yeah, and that competition is not like the SEC, if I'm not mistaken. Andre said, I've seen other drafts, and they had the Cowboys taking defensive tackle. I know. Please don't let it be so. Please don't let them take a defensive tackle. Don't do it. No Cap says, the facts that worries me about is Genty, too. He plays against poor competition. He's not playing that SEC competition. So I'm telling you, if I knew somebody wanted him, man, there's some running backs out there that are some show enough, big-bodied, fast, bust open the line running backs that even if your blocking isn't, your line may not be that good. Well, they're big enough. They can make the first guy miss, run over a cornerback, and be gone for the crib. No Cap, hear me out. If the Jaguars trade along to the 49ers, do you think, man, no. Kyle Shanahan would probably be moving on from Trevor Lawrence also. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has showed us who he is. You know what? Just like Deshaun Watson. I thought Deshaun Watson, after watching them both battle each other in college, I really thought they were going to be running things. Nope, neither one of them. I wouldn't try to flip neither one. I wouldn't get neither one of them. And I definitely wouldn't be trying to get Trevor Lawrence. Let the Jaguars deal with him. They paid him all that money. Flip the pick, get your player still, and set for the next 2 years. Yep, that's what I would do. That's exactly what I would do. I'm flipping these picks. When people get crazy about players, I notice this every year in these drafts. People get crazy about a player. And the very player they're crazy about, they don't understand, but their craziness has blinded them. Because you handicap your player that you just got because you can't put anything around him now. It's the same thing if the Cowboys got Shedeur Sanders. People do not understand how stupid that was. You're going to eat $180 million with Dak Prescott and then give up 3 prop. If Trey went for 3, I'm getting 4 for Shedeur. You're going to give up 3, 4 first-round draft picks and who knows what else to get Shedeur Sanders? You don't have the cap space, nor the draft capital, nor the trade ability to put anything around Shedeur Sanders. You only get him for 4. You get him for what? Get him in the top 5. You can own him, I think. You get the 5th-year option. You're gonna wait till the 5th year? And then say, okay, we're finally up from under all the draft stuff we did and everything. Suicide. Franchise suicide is all it is. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't understand people who talk like that. Andre, the window is now. It's it. Right now. Jerry has turned the 2024 campaign into, you said it's a laughing traveling circus. It's Barnum and Bailey's up in here. It's hard to watch these games. It's games. It's waiting for something to go wrong, then it goes wrong. See, that's why I flipped the switch in my mind. Because I know what we're playing for. I know exactly what we're playing for. I know we're not playing to win. And I've been saying this from the beginning. The Cowboys, from the beginning, Jerry was telling us this. He wasn't playing to win from the beginning. He was playing to win some games. There's no way that Jerry went into this season with this roster saying Super Bowl roster. Nope. Nisi said it earlier. Do more with less. Same thing he told Dak. Do more with less. And I'm going to tell you this. If Mike would have turned this roster around, Mike will still be here. And I'm still not saying he's going until they clean out his desk. Andre said the Washington Redskins window is this year and next year. Does the Cowboys coming back and they know Dan Quinn knows it? Yeah, the Cowboys. Because, see, the Cowboys, for all the Cowboy fans and haters, I'm telling you, your mind is going to be blown at how fast the Dallas Cowboys become competitive again. They're not going to be a single-digit win team next year. The Cowboys will be a double-digit win team next year. Book it. The Commanders, we're going to see. We're going to see about Dan Quinn. This is the second go-around for Dan Quinn. After that Super Bowl, when the Patriots came back and beat the Falcons, Dan Quinn fell off a cliff. I'm not a big fan, y'all. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of recycling coaches. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm one of these people that when I watch, if I watch a coach fall off, I'm looking at how he fell off, what was around him, what were the circumstances. Now, I will say one thing about Dan Quinn. The Kyle Shanahan tree comes from Dan Quinn. I'm not saying he's necessarily responsible for the Shanahan tree, but Kyle was the offensive coordinator for him during that Super Bowl year. And everybody came and took the Shanahan tree. So I can understand that part. But what I'm looking at with Dan Quinn, but he also, those were his defenses. That was his defense that allowed them to come back. Jose, yeah, Trey Lance, oh yeah. Trey Lance, I think we'll see Trey Lance. They're gonna be careful at how much they play him. And I think probably once they get to around week 14-ish, I think that they'll probably start letting him play because I think that the draft order will be solidified somewhere around week 14, 15 as far as where Dallas stands, as far as where they stand. I think once they know they're out of that top 5 and they kind of evaluate like where the 6, 7, 8, 9 gets us, probably doesn't make a whole lot of difference per se. You're going to see Trey Lance play. I want Trey Lance to play because I don't want Trey Lance to be the backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. I actually want Trey Lance to get a chance. I want him to get the opportunity to get developed on the team and be a starter. Rudolph said Mike McCarthy will not run the ball. He need to run Rico 27 times. He will win the game. I keep saying it. Run Rico 25 times. That's just Rico. Let Deuce Vaughn run some sweeps. Get Zeke involved. Bring up Dalvin Cook. I don't care what you have to do. But Rico needs to run the ball 25 times, and I don't care if he gets 25 yards. He needs to run the ball. And so, when you kind of look at here too, let's kind of look at real quick. Let's look at what the Commanders are working with from a defensive perspective. Let's kind of look at what they're working with defensively and offensively, matter of fact, but we're going to look defensively first. Let's kind of look at what the Commanders are working with and see what Dan Quinn, what kind of damage has he been doing this year. So when you look at their defense, it looks like they're number 14 as far as opponents' points scored per game. They allow around 22 points per game. That was around the Cowboys' threshold, but as the weeks since Dak has been out, especially these 2 weeks, it has went way down. And so you look at their opponents' yards per game, they're ranked number 18. Opponents' points per play, they're number 17. Opponents' yards per play, they're number 20. Opponents' third down conversion, they're number 26. Fourth down conversion, 16. Opponents' red zone scoring, they're number 27. Opponents' TDs, they're number 24. Wow. This is Dan Quinn's defense. This is Dan Quinn's defense, y'all. His defense is not good. His defense is not good. It's pretty much mid-pack. Mid-pack. Let's look at it. That's overall. Let's look against the run because this is where I would be focusing if I'm the Cowboys. So their opponent's rush play percentage is 50%. They're ranked 30th against the run. If Mike McCarthy don't run that ball this week, if Mike McCarthy, y'all, do not run the ball this week, there is something literally wrong with this man. The game plan against the Commanders, y'all, and I say this with a grain of salt, that's if you're trying to win. If you are trying to win the game plan is right here on a silver platter. Run the ball. Run the ball. Cowboys, run the ball. Look at this again. This is crazy. Opponents' yards per rush, 30th in the league. Opponent rushes per game, 27th. Everybody says this is the formula. Run the ball. Opponents' rushing yards per game, 30th. Let me make sure this is Washington. Wow. Opponents' rush TDs per game, 1.2. Passing. Opponents' pass play percentage, number 3. Completion percentage, 17. Passing yards, 20. Passes per game, they rank first. Passing yards per game, 5th. Opponents' interception throwing percentage, 25. Sack percentage, number 7. Now, let's understand why this number is so lopsided. It's simple. The formula for beating them is running the ball. So teams run on them. But they're 7-3. Now, I think another issue is their schedule has been kind of light in the beginning. But see, now they're going into the teeth of their schedule. And so we just saw what happened with Philadelphia. Well, they're coming up against Cowboys. But I think the Cowboys can match up well against them if they really want to try and win the game. I believe that Mike McCarthy could probably do some things against the Washington Commanders. Because if you look at the Cowboys, see, this happened over the last couple of games. They went down, they're scoring 18 points a game. They're ranked 24. Yards per game, they're number 20, 322. Points per play, they're number 27. Yards per play, they're number 25, 4.9. Third down conversion, 25. Fourth down, 29. Red zone scoring, oh my gosh. 31 in the red zone. Trey Lance. There's the Trey Lance package right there. If you want to win the game, there's the Trey Lance package. Put him in the red zone. TDs per game, 1.7. They're number 30. Wow. And we are literally, y'all, we are watching the worst rushing offense going up against one of the worst. They're right above us. Worst rushing defenses in football. What in the world? What in the world, y'all? This is crazy. Look at our passing statistics. This is another reason why we better run the ball. Pass play percentage, 67%. We're number 1. Why are we throwing the ball so much? You see why Mike McCarthy's getting fired? I'm sorry, not getting fired. You see why they're letting him go? Or why they should? Completion percentage, number 28. Yards per pass, number 27. Passes per game, we're number 1. What? This is crazy. Pass yards per game, number 7. A lot of that's because we're playing from behind. Interception percentage strong. We're number 22. Quarterback sack percentage, 6.59%, number 16. Oh, man. So if I'm looking at this game, y'all, and let me put in quotation marks, if I want to win the game. If I want to win this game, the numbers are not lying. They just told me everything I need to know. Run the ball. Rudolph says Mike will not run the ball. And I've been saying it. Run him 25 times. Daniel Jones, better than Cooper Rush. That's why we're not bringing in Daniel Jones. Big hitting. Oh, man, come on, man. Oh, okay, you family. You are, okay, me, okay. I'm from Jacksonville, Texas. I got you, Big Hen. Okay, I got you, Big Hen. All right. Janie Scott says, hello, everyone. Finally got moved to a new place. What's going on, Janie? Good to see you. I want weapons. Yes, skill positions. Cowboy need a number 1 receiver. Yes, Michelle. I don't want to see no more O&D linemen. I don't want to see no more of it. In other words, you want to be the Eagles. Man, if you kind of looking at this Eagles, oh, yes, Philly D, I got you. Yes. That's why the Eagles dominated them. I mean, the run game between Saquon Barkley, between their other backup, number 14, between Jalen Hurts, this is why they dominated them. And so if the Cowboys want to win, they better run Rico 25 times, if not more. If McCarthy somehow keeps his job, Genty will be of no use. I can't do nothing but agree with you. The stats are showing it. How do you be the number 1 pass play percentage team in the league? And a lot of this has come on. Do y'all realize Cooper Rush came in against the Falcons? Cooper Rush threw, I think, 25 times in the fourth quarter. I can't remember how much he threw against the Eagles. But last week, he threw the ball 55 times. This is why Mike needs to go. I like Mike, good guy, but he needs to go. Let's go McMillan, get Dak and CD some help. Yep, I'm with you. Skill says, what's going on, Sky Hill? This is Sky Hill Tribes. Why y'all even pretending about your drafting when you already know Jerry's just going to do what he wants to do? But watch this, Sky. This is why I want Jerry to get in that top 10 and draft a skill position. It's hard to mess those up. Minus quarterback. I think quarterback can easily be messed up in the first round. Easily. It's hard to miss on a running back in the first round, especially if you're getting the best running back on the board. It's hard to miss on a wide receiver if you're getting the first, second, or third best wide receiver on the board. It's hard to miss on those. That's why I want them to do it. Because if they go O-line, D-line, it's going to probably be more the same. The 70s fan, even C.J. Stroud has a good of a season. Even C.J. Stroud, as good of a season he had, is struggling this year. Yep, teams have tape on him now. There's a reason why they say sophomore slump. Yep, no doubt. Chris DeVault, what's going on? Cooper Rush is not a great quarterback. Nope. Who do you think the Garrett got? Boy. I'm going to talk about that next. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow because I've been pondering on this whole thing about the Garrett boys because the only one that I could think of that I would be considering as a Garrett boy would have to be Zeke. You can't be talking about Dak. He ain't going nowhere. But for me, it's got to be Zeke. Zeke has got to go. Dak ain't going nowhere. I don't care what he says. Anybody says, Dak ain't going nowhere. That contract's ironclad. That's a good idea. Dak need to get a trainer like LeBron James. Oh, man, he needs to spend $1 million a year on his body. I'm going to tell you, I would. It's the product. It's the product, y'all. The endorsements are not the product. He's the product. If I'm a quarterback, I'm taking a page out of LeBron James' book and Tom Brady's book. I'm going to get me a trainer. I'm going to do LeBron Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to get me a run coach. LeBron James, I'm just going to flat out spend $1 million on whatever I need to, chambers and anything else I need to put on and in my body that's legal. I'm going to do it. And to top all that off, I'm going to make sure I'm going to do what Tom Brady did. I'll get me somebody that, whatever they were doing with the TB12 method, I saw some of that stuff. I was like, what is this stuff? It worked. Tom Brady actually could have kept playing. Tom Brady just basically got tired. He just got tired of the game. Man, Lewis, they were saying Cooper. Wait, Lewis. Not only were they saying Cooper Rush was better than Dak. Anybody remember the Daniel Jones comment? Where you at now, Chris Canty? Where you at now, Chris Canty? Because I don't see Chris Canty flapping his gums all over the internet like he was when he was talking about Daniel Jones. Where is he? Where are these people who was talking all this noise? Cooper Rush, career backup. Nothing more, nothing less, Lewis. How you doing tonight? Mike McCarthy would be the same with the Commanders. Let me tell you something. Dan Quinn wouldn't touch. I promise you, Dan Quinn would not touch Mike McCarthy with a 10-foot pole. I don't think Niecy's on tonight, Janie. DFW said, this is a compliment. My wife thinks he's gorgeous and hilarious. He's called from Mike and Molly. Who you talking about when you say he's gorgeous? Rudolph says, they always say Cooper Rush is better than Dak Prescott. Cooper Rush is not better than Dak Prescott. Cooper Rush, well, it's amazing. Now I'm hearing everybody, wait, he got the same team. Now we're realizing Dak Prescott, it was an absolute miracle that this team even won 3 games with Dak Prescott. And I dare say, I believe Dak beats the Falcons if they finish the game. Definitely beat the Falcons if Mike McCarthy doesn't do a dumb fake punt, which I'm starting to wonder if that was on purpose. I'm just wondering if he knows the assignment too. Lose the game. This Kyle Shanahan tree is overrated. None of them won nothing. I thought Sean McVay was a member of the Kyle Shanahan tree. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I thought Sean McVay was a member. And we really can't say that they haven't won anything. I know we can't as far as Super Bowls go. But when we look at it in the grand scheme of things, Kyle Shanahan has dominated the NFC. He's dominated it. You got to think about it. He keeps running up against Patrick Mahomes. Man, that's a tough out, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, Patrick Mahomes. Now they got him a top 5 defense. Winning got him Pacheco. Kyle Shanahan. Do we not realize Kyle Shanahan has taken the 49ers to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy? What would this man do with a literal top 10 quarterback? What would Kyle Shanahan look like? I'd really like to see him with what he has right now, defense and a top 10 quarterback. It's the reason why he was trying to convince Tom Brady. Y'all wouldn't have saw Brock Purdy last year. He couldn't convince Tom Brady to put off the broadcast booth another year. He was trying to get Tom Brady. So, yeah, when you look at the Kyle Shanahan tree, they have been pretty successful. With the exception of a couple of them. Sean McVay, I thought he was a part of the tree. Super Bowl. Now, what happened to Sean McVay and the reason why he hasn't been back to another Super Bowl is because they're still paying the piper for that super team that they put around Matthew Stafford. They're still paying the piper for that. They're still paying the piper in salary cap and draft picks and stuff like that. And I think Sean McVay might be competitive again in another year or two. And that's even if he stays in coaching. He might take a break. Gary Kubiak, nah. Matt LaFleur. Some success, yet to be seen. They beat the Cowboys last year. Mike McDaniel, I'm worried about him. I'm worried about Mike McDaniel because he chose to convince the Miami Dolphins to pay a contract to Tua Tagovailoa, who is literally in danger of bumping into a door and being out for the rest of his career. The last head injury that Tua Tagovailoa had wasn't even someone hitting him. It was him running into someone. So I'm worried about Mike McDaniel. We might not be seeing Mike McDaniel in another couple of years. He's got some serious weapons and he's not producing. Raheem Morris, trying to remember. Raheem, who is he with right now? Okay, head coach of the Falcons. Raheem, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait another couple of years. He's not going to win with Kirk Cousins. We're going to see what happens when Michael Penix Jr. comes in, and then by that time, they'll probably say you get 1 year with Penix, and they'll be done with him. Bobby Slovic, he is next head coach. I don't think for the Cowboys, he's going to be the next head coach everybody's going to be looking at. So the tree is not necessarily bad. It's not necessarily bad, but for sure, they've had some success. And I think when they're talking about the Shanahan tree, they're talking about the play calling more than anything else, because those guys seem to be very clever when it comes to play calling. Yeah, McVay got his Super Bowl. The Washington Commanders' best receiver is hurt. I didn't see him out on the injury report. I didn't see him out. McVay came from WFT. Shanahan never was head coach with them. They got him on the tree. I don't know. This is what they have on. They have him on the tree. Yeah, they have They have let me look again here. But they have Sean McVay on the tree. And they actually got more people on here. I mean, he's a man. He's really, there's been a lot of people that have come from the Kyle Shanahan thing. But some of them, they should give Dan Quinn some credit too, because Kyle Shanahan was with Dan Quinn. But I tell you this, if Kyle Shanahan came loose, I would definitely want the Cowboys to get him. The Commanders cannot stop the run. Nope. That's why this is the perfect game, Rudolph. Run the ball. Sounds like Washington wins come by outscoring their opponents. And Lewis, you know what I think is going to be a problem if the Cowboys can't contain them? Jaden Daniels has been making some extraordinary plays. I've watched him a couple of games. He's been making some extraordinary plays. He is so quick on his feet. I'd have chose him over Caleb Williams. He's very good as a quarterback, reading, throwing, passing, all of that stuff. And he can flat out run. He's been doing a lot of the lifting for them too. And so the Cowboys, you think about what happened with the Cowboys. They stopped Saquon Barkley. They had no answer for Jalen Hurts. And that's what they're going to have to do. In this game, they'll have to be watching the run, and they'll have to be watching Jaden Daniels. Now, Jaden Daniels is dealing with a rib injury. So he hasn't been as effective as he was early on. But I'll tell you this. If there's a game the Cowboys can win, well, this and the Giants is it. What's going on, Danny? What's going on? I'm telling you, he can do it. Then it's Cowboy Nation in the house. What's going on, Gregory? This is a game. If you're going to win, this is going to be the one. The Cowboys can win Sunday. When Sunday history repeats itself. The year they went 1-15, guess who they beat? They just got to be pros. Well, if you're gonna win the game, this is the one, because you can beat this team if you can run the ball and run it consistently. Philly D says, all love. Y'all be back next year. Y'all, without Dallas not being competitive, the East is boring. East best division in all the sports. Man, it was for a while, wasn't it, Philly? Dominant. Absolutely dominant. I hope Giants, Dallas, and Eagles all be good. I'm going to tell you this. The New York Giants got a great opportunity. If they mess around and get in that top 3, get that Shedeur Sanders pick, trade it to the Las Vegas Raiders, get Cam Ward, get a running back, get another wide receiver, and then spend the rest of those picks on whatever you want to spend them on. New York Giants, 2 years back up in this thing, man, just like that. Just like that. But, man, I'm telling you, y'all GM need to be studied. That dude for Philly, was it Howie Roseman? That dude stay getting folk. Stay keeping that team loaded. Revelation says, but they are all Jerry boys except for Dak. You know, that's why when Dad said this whole thing about the Garrett, Maurice, Skip always praised Cooper Rush. Yep, that's why they got him off mainstream TV now. Skip Bayless went crazy towards the end. McVay came from Jay Gruden. Okay, I have to do something on that. Keep up the good work, man. Appreciate it. Love the show. Appreciate you, Rudolph. Appreciate you. Janie says the way the session is going, crying would only get you a stuffy nose. This season is going, cry would only get you a stuffy nose. Yeah. I done already flipped the switch in my head. That's why I'm enjoying the season. Because how often do you get this opportunity? And I'll be honest with you. I don't want this opportunity often. Appreciate your P-Funk. I don't want this opportunity often, y'all. I don't want the opportunity to see what I have. I don't want that opportunity. The Dallas Cowboys right now have the opportunity to see what every single player they have on the roster is. Every player, every coach, they have the opportunity because they basically decided, Jerry decided before the season, that this season was going to be a wash. And I don't think he thought it was going to be this bad. I think Jerry was thinking, well, maybe we'll be 10-6. And I can still be justified in letting go of Mike McCarthy because he went down a couple of games. But I don't think he anticipated all the injuries. Philly D says Dallas needs to stop building both lines. Paulson is not a 3-down edge. No, he needs to be moved back to linebacker. He does. And I'm not paying him defensive end money. Chris said they should call Cooper Rush Dookie Rush. You know what, though? I'm not going to hate on Cooper Rush too bad. I'm just speaking facts on Cooper Rush. This is what happens when folk overhype you. This is what we're watching with Micah Parsons. The moment they let LT come out of their mouth, now somebody going to have to go back and reprogram Micah Parsons. You're not LT. You're not even in the same sentence as LT. I promise y'all, Bill Parcells in his heyday, and he'd have been on that Cowboy team, and they'd have said, hey, man, Micah Parsons, LT. I bet you Bill Parcells would have said, hold on a second. Let's let him play a few more years and get some skins on the wall before we start talking about Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor, generational talent, could play in any era. Any. Paul Rodriguez said Dallas ain't going to win. Michael going to miss every tackle. He going to miss every tackle for his daddy Quinn. Man, I'm telling you, the Dan Quinn and Michael Parsons stuff need to be studied, man. Needs to be studied. Philly D. You're exactly right. Jerry Jones and Dak Prescott have a very dysfunctional relationship. And I hope they can fix it in the offseason. Because you don't treat somebody, you don't treat a quarterback the way Jerry has treated Dak Prescott, especially when you pay him $231 million. Now, if he Daniel Jones and you already know you about to kick him out the door, well, you know what, I ain't gonna say disrespect the man, but if you disrespect him, I mean, everybody expected, But I'm sorry, you don't pay a man that kind of money and you not pay him the utmost respect and put players around him. I mean, you look at Jalen Hurts. I mean, Philly D, you know this yourself being a Philly fan. A lot of folk don't realize they were coming after Jalen Hurts The Philadelphia fan base, some of their fan base, some of their toxic fan base, they were literally coming after Jalen Hurts. Oh, it's his last season. He ain't worth the money. He ain't this good. He ain't that good. And what did Howie Roseman do? Howie Roseman went right up in there, extended players, keeping players around him, because Howie Roseman knows what Jalen Hurts is. This is why I keep telling folk, all this mythical unicorn stuff, everybody keeps looking at, well, nobody Patrick Mahomes. That's why he's Patrick Mahomes. He's not Patrick Mahomes number 3, Patrick Mahomes 2.5. He's Patrick Mahomes. He's one of one. So you don't need to look at Patrick Mahomes and say, well, I'm going to be well, my quarterback not Patrick Mahomes. Whose quarterback is Patrick Mahomes? But maybe there's a better question. Maybe there's a deeper, more interesting question, y'all, that people are not asking. Maybe your quarterback is not Patrick Mahomes with Andy Reid, with Steve Spagnuolo, with that GM they have, with that owner they have, with everything they have around him. Maybe your quarterback is not Patrick Mahomes with that team. People get so crazy when it comes to this stuff. Oh, we don't have. Well, of course you don't have who so-and-so have. So you have who you have. Know who you have. Put what you need around who you have. The problem is we haven't put what we need around who we have. Dak Prescott, play action quarterback, and we want him to be a drop back 30 to 40 time quarterback. That's not what Dak is. He's a 25 to 27 time drop back quarterback on the play action run game, the same way Troy Aikman ate. Go back and look at Troy Aikman's stats. They'll astound you. I'm going to do it in the offseason for people so we can put this thing into perspective. Go back and look at Troy Aikman's stats. Go back and look at them. Very rarely did he have 300-yard passing games. Very rarely did he have to throw the ball more than 25, 27, 28 times. Very rarely. If he did, it's during the losing seasons. During the winning seasons, very rarely. Very rarely. Dominant run game. Anyone comparing Dak to Russ is stupid. Hurts needs to be better. What makes Hurts great is intangibles. Daily moving the chains and killing the clock. That's what he is. I liked him in college. I was actually mad when they moved on, put Tua Tagovailoa in there. I was upset. And I knew he's going to be great in the pros. He is what he is. We don't have to compare him to anybody. He is what he is. And he will destroy you if you mess around and give him some daylight. He's going to get the first downs. He'll make some throws sometimes that'll make your head, you just go, what a pass that was. He has some very unique strengths. And what I like about Howie Roseman is Howie Roseman is playing to his strengths. And Michelle, you make a great point. Patrick not playing well this year, and isn't strange? They're 9-1. So I keep telling folk. They even went and got Patrick Mahomes a running game and a defense. Eventually, just like Tom Brady did. They did with Tom Brady. Eventually, Tom Brady's first 3 Super Bowls, defensive heavy. Then you get towards the middle, Tom Brady's skills start showing up. And then you get towards the end, they needed some players around him. There's a reason why. Go check these stats. They're weird. The Super Bowls that he lost? The ones without Gronkowski, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, you got to look at this stuff. You need players. You need coaches. You need a lot of these things. And so finishing up the keys to the game here, this is the perfect game that if the Cowboys are going to win, they can win this game running the ball. The Cowboys can win this game running the ball, y'all. No doubt. No doubt. I actually think I'm going crazy saying the Cowboys can win this game if they run the ball. Now, this is where I think they're going to run into a little bit of a problem when you look at the defensive keys. The defensive keys, I'm a broken record. Stop the run. But Mike Zimmer has actually done that for the most part. He stopped Saquon Barkley. He just didn't have an answer for Jalen Hurts. He didn't have an answer for Jalen Hurts. Boy, if he could have stopped Jalen, but you got to think about it. You think about it. And Philly D, man, appreciate the super chat. Hold on a second. Appreciate the super chat, Philly D. Real talk, my guy. Appreciate the $4.99 super chat. Now, Philly D. Now, you watch that game against Philly. Mike Zimmer stopped Saquon Barkley running single high safety. But the problem is you couldn't stop Jalen Hurts because you committed so hard to stopping Saquon Barkley, you couldn't do anything with Jalen Hurts. Because every time the Cowboys' backs turned their back trying to cover the receivers, Jalen Hurts just slip on out the backfield and there's nothing you could do. So they can stop the run against the Commanders. But the problem is Jaden Daniels is not as good of a runner as Jalen Hurts. But make no mistake about it, boy, he can run the ball. He's not as big. He's not big-bodied as Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, he can knock a couple of guys over, maybe even make a couple of guys miss. Daniels can just outrun you. He can just outrun you. He's a quick guy, shifty, light on his feet. So their problem is going to be, again, okay, you stop the run, but do you also stop Daniel Jones and the run? Because Daniel Jones, similar to Jalen Hurts, gets outside of the pocket. If he don't run it, he makes these crazy, insane throws. He keeps plays alive. So I don't think they'll have a problem as much Zimmer stopping the run, but what's betrayed Zimmer the whole season, what's betrayed Zimmer is the secondary. It's either poor tackling or missed assignments on receivers. Poor tackling or missed assignments on receivers. And, we always say that running quarterbacks give the Dallas Cowboys problems. They give all teams problems. But it seems in particular, running quarterbacks give the Dallas Cowboys fits. And so, man, you thought we had a problem. Jalen Hurts is a different type of runner. But we're going to have problems with Daniel Jones, too. We're going to have problems with Daniel Jones. We're going to have some serious problems with Daniel Jones. And so, I'm sorry. Did I put Daniel Jones? I meant Jaden. Hold on a second. Let me correct this. It's not Daniel Jones. I was thinking about Daniel Jones when the things came down the wire. Jaden Daniels. They're going to have problems with Jaden Daniels because Jaden Daniels can run the ball. They're going to have a serious problem with Jaden Daniels. Hope I spelled his name right. Yeah, they're going to have a serious problem with Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, similar to Jalen Hurts, he can do a lot of different things, and they're going to have a problem with him. They are. Mike McCarthy going to mess this game up again. Special teams running the ball. Show me the pass tips and strategies all messed up. I bet you this, Andre. I bet you this. If Mike McCarthy roll out here with another fake punt, Jerry need to come down on the sideline and fire him right then. Man, this dude has messed up this special teams, man. Jose said if the Cowboys would have won the Washington game, I wonder how Dan Quinn's reaction would be. Well, I tell you this, he going to do everything he can. Yep, Philly D, Mahomes is dual threat. I said it earlier. And you know what? And let me include Jalen Hurts in this. Lamar Jackson is the best runner. He's a video game. Josh Allen is the scariest runner as a quarterback. Big, strong, fast. Patrick Mahomes, to me, is the smartest runner. He's the smartest runner. And I would probably put Jalen Hurts in between. I would probably put him in between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. He kind of fits in between both of them because Jalen Hurts has some power. He's actually got some power. Jalen will knock you over. I think what did he say? He bench 600 pounds. He's not an easy bring down. That's why the tush push works so good with Jalen Hurts versus anyone else. The dude is literally strong, Superman strong when it comes to his legs. And so he kind of falls in between both of them. Yeah, Philly D. I meant to say J. Daniels. Yeah, because if Daniel Jones was playing like Jay Daniels, he'd probably be on the team right there. Gregory Bowen said, watch number 11 be wearing his hat backwards in honor of Daddy Quinn. Man, boy, he better not. Boy, they might not let him come back to Dallas. Robert said, you got thanks on your mind player. Thank 5 on your mind. Thanksgiving on your mind. Yeah, I do. And I was thinking, and when I was writing this, I was thinking about Daniel Jones and the fact they let him go. Do you think Cooper Rush would be a better backup quarterback if he wasn't so overhyped by? You know what? I just think he is what he is. I just think he's a backup quarterback. I don't think there's anything exciting about him. I mean, they were trying to blow him out the spot. I watched the games. Those first 3, okay, I give them to you. He played pretty good. Defenses did some things too, but I'm not going to knock him. But it was the Rams game for me. You don't get to complete 10 passes and 102 yards and get the brag when the Los Angeles Rams fumbled the ball twice and threw an interception and basically gave you the game. That was your defense. I'm not letting you roll up out of here like, yeah, man, yeah, he's 4-1. And then he plays the Philadelphia Eagles and get mollywopped. 3 interceptions. I'm not letting you get away with that. And I think he would be better, Chris. I also think he would be better if they were understanding he's not as good as Dak Prescott. He's not a starting quarterback in this league. And we need to run the doggone ball. Run the ball 35 times. Rico 25. Zeke 10. Deuce Vaughn 5 or 10. Jonathan Mingo sweeps. Bring in Trey Lance. Let him do. I'm sorry. The talk about Cooper Rush, the reason why he's not as good as he would be is because they're trying to make him be better than he is. It's terrible what they're doing to him. It's terrible. Hurts is the strongest runner and smart doing it. Yeah, he's pretty strong. Like I said, I think he was 600 pounds bench. 600-pound squat. Man. Jose said it amazes me how Jerry hasn't fired Mike McCarthy. Oh, no. He's not going to fire him. McCarthy's a part of the plan. He's a part of the plan. Wild Boy Trey, what's up? Hadn't seen you in a while. Jalen Hurts is not a gifted passer. But see, let me say this again. You don't have to be a gifted passer. And while Jalen Hurts is not a gifted passer, Jalen Hurts will still throw 4-5 passes a game that make your head spin and go, how did he get that? How did he get that there? Perfect passes he'll drop in places, and you'll be like just bewildered, like, wow. You don't need Patrick Mahomes to win Super Bowls. Jalen has already got there. Jalen has already got there. It's hard to get back, but he's already got there. He got there not being Patrick Mahomes. You don't have to be Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady to win these games. You don't. Dak will win multiple Super Bowls with that Eagles offense. Philly D. Hey, I tell you this. I ain't gonna cap. I think Dak would be killing it with that offense. I do. I think Dak would be killing it with that offense. Paul Rodriguez says, Anthony Richardson earned my respect. Running over that jet safety. Oh, boy, that was felt around the country. Bro trucked him like redhead stepson status. Yeah, it was dumb. It was actually dumb that they benched him, if that's who we're talking about, right, for the Colts. It's dumb that they actually benched him for that, whatever they did. Yeah, he can throw dimes. Yep, he can. The league is going to change their tune when we draft McMillan. Boy, I hope they do. The O-line play is reason we do not run the ball. We can't block. Now, what you're supposed to do, see, I've been talking about this, Big Hinton. See, what you're supposed to do, notice Mike McCarthy's run scheme. Mike McCarthy runs reluctantly. And if you'll notice on film, Mike McCarthy is always running A gap, B gap. He always runs up the middle. you don't run up the middle when you have a young offensive line. When you have a young offensive line, you got to get them on the move. You get them on the run. You run sweeps. You run pitches. You scheme. You pull guards. You put tight ends on one side. He should be running on Zach Martin and Terrence Steele's side, putting a tight end over there, and then just for good measure, put in Hunter Lipke, and then you run your sweeps to that side. He runs into the weakness of his defense. He's running right between. What are you doing running between the tackles? Rico Dowdle is not even a run between the tackle runner. Deuce Vaughn, we're running in between the tackles. What are we doing? Of course, Deuce Vaughn is not going to look good running between the tackles. But if you pitch him, give him a couple of quick pitches, run some sweeps. Anybody ever notice how the jet sweeps to the wide receivers? They're getting 10, 15 yards on those sometimes. Well, how about run sweeps to your running backs rather than the wide receivers? That's what they're designed for. So when you have a line like that, stop trying to make them block like they are a top 10 line. No. Okay, until you guys kind of get under, get your feet under you, we're going to get you on the run. We're going to get you on the move. That way you can kind of dictate. You can dictate to the opposing force. You can run into them rather than them waiting on you because you're just running right into them. Oh, we don't even have to do anything. They're just going to run right into us. No, they're running the ball wrong is their problem. They got to run the ball to the outsides, run it to the outsides because that's what teams do to them. Jalen outplayed Mahomes. Yeah, boy, that was a tough Super Bowl loss right there. Kind of a questionable play in there when I think in there also. Oh yeah, forgot about the fumble. We need Ashton Genty. Would love to have him. I hope we get him. Jalen Hurts is not a quarterback for real. He's a running back. You know what? I'll give him he's a quarterback. I knew Jalen Hurts was going to be successful in the league. We just got to let him keep playing and see what happens. Robert said it seems if McCarthy was sending Jerry a message Monday night, there was absolutely no reason to throw 55 passes. Crazy. It's like we're watching. I said this early in the season. It's like we're watching Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones like battle each other. It's like he's daring Jerry Jones to fire him or whatever. It's crazy. Jose says, imagine if we had Ben Johnson as our coach. Yeah, I hope he's in the hopper. Everybody keeps talking about who the Dallas Cowboys coach is going to be. I hope he's in the hopper. And so, we kind of looked at the defensive keys. We looked at the offense. So when we look at the defense, we look at the offense of the Washington Commanders. Now, this part of the story to me is very telling. We saw how their defense looked. But when you look at the Washington Commanders offense, now this is going to be a problem. I'm telling you, this is going to be the literal problem for the Dallas Cowboys. This is the literal problem. Look at this. Look at where they rank. They're 4th in points per game, 6th in yards per game, 5th in points per play, 6th in yards per play, 8th in third down conversion, number 1 in 4th down conversion, red zone scoring 14, TDs per game, number 7. I'm sorry, y'all. Dallas Cowboys' only chance is running the ball and winning time of possession. Because if they don't run the ball and win time of possession, it's going to be a massacre. Look at their run stats. 49.93% of the time they run the ball, they're number 5. Yards per rush, they're number 7. Rushes per game, 31. You want to know how you beat teams? Run the ball. 31 times, they're number 4. Rush yards per game, 148. Rushing TDs, they're number 3. There's a reason why this pass play percentage is lopsided. They're only throwing half the time. They're number 6 in completions, 7 in yards per pass. That means the play action for Jaden Daniels is working extremely well. Look at this, passes per game. This is how you win games. This is exactly what you want. You want your quarterback. You only want him throwing the ball very minimal. He don't need to go above 30. He don't need to go above 30. Once you get to 30, to me, that's the danger zone. That means either the score is close, you go into 35 and 40, you're in a shootout, or you're playing from far behind, you get to 40 and 50, I already know what's going on. The game is pretty much over. Unless you're playing, unless both teams have got the score up to 50 or 60 points each. Yards per game, they're 218. They're number 15. Interception thrown, they're number 3. And quarterback sacked, they're number 19. So when you start talking about this being a mismatch, this is more of a mismatch to me for the Dallas Cowboys. Because while they don't stop the run, and we don't stop the run, they run the ball, and we don't run the ball. So there's the ball game to me. There's the mismatch. There's the mismatch. So now it all depends on what is Mike McCarthy going to do? Is he going to be fighting with Jerry Jones? Is he going to be fighting with Jerry Jones this game? Trying to prove a point again of whatever point he's trying to prove. Because it's like him and Jerry got something going on that we don't know about. I'm telling you. Ben Johnson also has incredible playmakers. Yep. That's why it's going to be hard to pry him out of Detroit, because he could have been in Washington. He passed on the job because he understands something. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going to a team and embarrass myself knowing I got a treasure trove of weapons around Jared Goff. I have a treasure trove of weapons, so I'm not just going to go up anywhere and try to play, and then I get ran out. Appreciate you, Janie. Catch the rest of the show if you can later on. Jalen has a talented team but can't get a Super Bowl win. Yikes. Well, but let's hold on. You know, this is the same thing I say about Dak Prescott and some of these other quarterbacks. We have to keep letting them play. Because sometimes, like I said, I was talking about this in Peyton Manning, because a lot of people don't understand this. But if you look at Peyton Manning's first 9 seasons, they were not better than Dak Prescott's. They almost looked the same in the first 9 seasons. He didn't have more playoff wins than Dak Prescott in his first 9 seasons. It wasn't until later on Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl. And then people start saying, okay, this is Peyton Manning now. Then they start talking about him the way that they talk about him now. And then the second Super Bowl, the second Super Bowl, come on, man. Come on. We can't even talk about that one. So, yeah, like I said, we got to make sure, we got to let some of these guys finish this stuff up. Yeah, Cooper Rush is what he is, and that's the issue. And the Cowboys need to understand that. If Genty is available, will Jerry draft the running back? He better. And I hope they get high enough that they can kind of read the room, play the room, find out who wants someone, and maybe they can trade back and still get Genty. Ronald said, don't you think the Cowboys should start Trey Lance, give him a chance? No doubt, but they ain't going to do it. They're not going to do it, Ronald, because, hey, welcome to the show. Don't let the Cowboys fool you. They're saying Cooper Rush gives them the best chance to win. No, actually, he gives you the best chance to lose. Because the problem with Trey Lance, he can get away from a pass rush. The problem with Trey Lance, he can throw the ball deep. The problem with Trey Lance, He makes your running game better because he actually is a threat in the run option. The Cowboys are trying to play for that top. They want to make sure they're in that top 10. They want to make sure they're in that top 10. That's what I believe they're doing. And so don't let them fool you. He gives them the best chance to lose. Jay Recruiter said, let's not forget that the Eagles beat the Giants and the Niners fourth-string quarterback to get that Super Bowl. Hurts was not the reason they got there. Okay. Jay Recruiter. Oh, man, y'all going back and forth on the Eagles and the okay. Yes, McMillan. If they don't do Genty, please do McMillan. Please do McMillan. But that's the defensive keys for the Cowboys. Let's look at the special teams, and then we'll close this out. Teams are taking away the special teams. There's nothing the Cowboys can do. Kevontae Turpin, he's going to have to keep returning out of the end zone. Brandon Aubrey. Got to stop relying so much on Brandon Aubrey. They need to get in the end zone. And Turpin, again, must run the ball out of the end zone. And so this is my thoughts on this. Boy, I must have really had Daniel Jones on the mind. I think I was watching some of the stuff they were talking about with Daniel Jones on the TV when I was doing this. So these are my thoughts on how I believe the game is going to turn out. And I'm going to give you the prediction I have of the score. I believe that Dan Quinn is going to make a statement. I do. Because there's something, I have a strange feeling. I have a strange feeling that Jerry Jones was trying to string Dan Quinn along until the end of Mike McCarthy's contract. And then he was going to turn the team over to Dan Quinn. I believe if Dan Quinn was on this team and it was going like it's going now, Dan Quinn would probably already be the coach and then be the coach going into the next season. Dan Quinn's going to make a statement, I believe, y'all, to Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. I think he's going to make a statement. I think Rush is going to be ineffective again. He's going to be I don't know if you say more ineffective or less effective. He is going to be even more ineffective than he was the last game. If there's anybody who knows Cooper Rush, it is. And did y'all notice? I told us this before the Eagles game. Kellen Moore knows Cooper Rush's weaknesses. Did we realize how Cooper Rush looked against the Eagles? Terrible. Not terrible, terrible. Kellen Moore knows exactly what he was. You don't think that Dan Quinn went against him on scout team? Man. Dan Quinn knows exactly what Cooper Rush is. Man, Dan Quinn about to go ballistic on Cooper Rush. I promise y'all. I got the same game plan. I got the same game plan as last week if I'm playing the Dallas Cowboys. I dare Cooper Rush to beat us. I dare him. We're going to load the box up. We're going to stop the run. And then when we get you in 3rd and long, because this is Dan Quinn's specialty, when we get you in 3rd and 1, we're going to pin our ears back and we're coming after Cooper Rush. The game plan is going to be simple. And I think Cooper Rush is going to be ineffective again. Mike McCarthy, until he shows me, I'm not going to believe it. I don't believe Mike McCarthy is going to stick with the run. I don't. I think he'll start out with some runs. The moment they get behind, Mike McCarthy will not stay patient, and then he's going to start throwing the ball all over the place. There'll be interceptions. There'll be fumbles, and the Dallas Cowboys are going to get ran off of again. I think they've typically been getting ran off on in the 3rd quarter. Houston ran off on them in the 4th quarter, but I'm going to make a grand prediction as it applies to the Commanders. I believe the Commanders are going to put it to the Cowboys very quickly. And I think the Commanders are going to try to destroy the Dallas Cowboys by the second quarter. I think they're going to try to destroy them by the second quarter. So they're going to do some stuff. But the only way Mike's going to stop this bleeding is Mike is going to have to run the ball. Mike don't run the ball, game over. And it's already game over, but it's going to be worse than game over. Cowboys win over the Commanders, 27-17. Okay, I like that prediction. Bring back Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, Charles, and Leon. Allen Hurst walking that hall, bring back the good old days. They got to get players with that mindset. But in order to get that mindset, Jerry's got to go back to the mindset. Jerry's got to go back to the mindset of, let me get a coach who know what he's doing. Let him handle football stuff, and I'll do the wheeling and the dealing. Jay Pose, what's going on? Dallas offensive line will be no match for the defense. Dan Quinn is about to throw at them. Nope. I'm in agreement. I'm telling you, I'm in agreement. I think he's going to go for the jugular vein by the second quarter. It ain't going to be no third quarter stuff. And I'm telling y'all this. Chris DeVault, you've obviously seen some of Jaden Daniels' games too, because you said Jaden. Okay, it's Jalen Daniels. Okay, is it Jalen? Okay, Jalen does throw dots. Yes, he throws dots. He throws absolute dots, and his accuracy is one of the reasons. But what helps him in that accuracy, y'all, is play action. A running game is a quarterback's best friend. I don't care if they're Patrick Mahomes. I don't care if they're Roger Staubach. A running game is your best friend because it opens up the play action. And so Jalen Daniels is going to give the Dallas Cowboys fits. And I do believe we will see Trey Lance sooner than later. Because I think that the Commanders are just going to put it on the Cowboys that bad that putting in him is not even going to matter. It's not going to matter. I think they're going to go ahead and put him in. Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Philly D. I don't think he cost them the Super Bowl because I think that anytime when you start talking about losing, when a team loses by close scores, I mean, because I think he did have the fumble. I think it was the fumble that he had. I can't recollect, but I do remember it was the fumble that he had that kind of was the nail in the coffin. But, you know, the crazy thing was, if you look at the box score in that game, Jalen Hurts was flawless, minus that fumble. I mean, he was pretty much flawless. And so, crazy. It was a great Super Bowl. The best offense is the best defense, time of possession. That's why he's got to run the ball. And if he doesn't run the ball, it's going to be a blowout. It is literally going to be a blowout because we can't stop the run. Not consistently. And even if Zimmer stops the run, the issue becomes this. Can he stop Jalen Daniels? He stopped Saquon Barkley. Okay, good job. Couldn't stop Jalen Hurts. He had no answer for Jalen Hurts. And I think it's hard to stop a running back and stop a running quarterback. It's like a two-headed monster in a sense. It's like a change of pace. I mean, it's hard to beat a team when they're man, it's hard to beat a team when their quarterback can run because you've accounted for the running back running. Okay, check. Okay, we're accounting for the play action. Check. We're even going to account when he dropped back, third and long. Check. The hard part is you got all those three things taken care of, and then this joker runs out of the backfield. What do the defensive backs do? They don't have eyes in the back of their head because if they peek back trying to see if he's running, wide receiver runs off on them. They stay with the wide receiver. Quarterback sees their back turn. He sees an opening. He runs. Hard. Okay, so it was in the second quarter. Okay, I hadn't watched it in a while. He was flawless in that Super Bowl minus that fumble. He really was. That part too, though, Lord knows, can't give up points. They all count in those. They all count. You know, you give up points, and a lot of times you give up points, man, that'd be the very thing to get you. Daniel says if the Cowboys beat the Commies on Sunday, then I guess the only reason why they struggled was because they were missing key pieces to their roster. Yeah. Unfortunately, though, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to have a very, very tough time with the Commanders because, man, I'm telling you, boy, I just think that Dan Quinn, boy, he got blood. He got blood in his eyes, man. He got blood in his eyes. Appreciate you, Wicked. Yep, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, man. Make sure y'all do that. Help me to keep growing the channel. Jalen Hurts is using Doug Peterson playbook because, like the Cowboys using Scott Leonard in his playbook. Hey, man, Doug Peterson looked like a doggone, Doug Peterson looked like the best coach in the world until he went to the doggone Jacksonville Jaguars. Crazy how he looks at Trevor Lawrence. Just goes to show you, man. A lot of people think that, man, coaching matters and so do players. Got to have a good combination of both. So I'll give y'all my prediction for the score. My prediction for the score is, I believe the Washington Commanders win the game 38-13. I just think they're going to be too much for the Cowboys. I think their run game is literally going to be too much for the Cowboys. And I think that when Mike Zimmer commits, and I think he's going to commit to stopping the run, I think Jalen Daniels is going to be a problem. They're still going to be able to run the ball. And I think they're going to get it. They're going to do just like everyone else does. They're going to get a lead on the Cowboys. And once you get a lead, they're going to abandon the run. And I think it's going to be 38-13 because I just don't trust Mike McCarthy staying committed to the run. Now, I do two scores. If they stay committed to the run, I think the game will be a lot closer, but I think the Commanders will still be too much. And I think the Commanders will beat the Cowboys at home 27-17. I think they'll beat them 27-17. And so I kind of want to transition and we'll still be talking about the Dallas Cowboys, but I want to transition to the game from last night. The game from last night was fascinating to me. Jay Recruiter says, looks accurate. Yeah, the Cowboys struggle to score more than 10 points. Yeah, that's why I got them as 13-7 and 17. And the game last night, y'all, I'm going to tell you how the game was crazy to me. It reminded me of what could have been with the Dallas Cowboys. Do y'all not realize we watched two teams last night? And I don't know about y'all. I absolutely enjoyed that game last night. I love storylines, man. I love storylines. Storylines are what make the NFL, to me, the best sport in the world. The storylines. And the storyline last night, to watch Jameis Winston, I'm telling y'all, I know Jameis Winston. Some people don't like Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston, when he was younger, Jameis Winston did some dumb things. Jameis Winston did some questionable things. People make mistakes. But the thing that I like about Jameis Winston, if you pay attention, Jameis Winston puts in a ton of work. A ton of work. People don't realize this. He puts in a ton. Jameis Winston works out in the offseason better than and more than, I dare say, some starting quarterbacks. I'm telling y'all, Jameis Winston's workout regimen is crazy. He tries to be the ultimate team guy. He was a great leader at Florida State. He's still a great leader. Sometimes he goes a little overboard. But Jameis Winston works so hard because he's wanting that next opportunity. And I think they messed him out of that opportunity with the Saints. I think Jameis Winston should have kept being the starter. He's fixed some of his interception issues. He played phenomenal last night in the snow. But you know what really got me last night watching that game? Do y'all know the Dallas Cowboys beat both of those teams? The Dallas Cowboys beat both of those teams that we saw play so hard last night in the snow. The Cowboys beat both of those teams, y'all. It just reminded me of what could have been. And I know that the Steelers didn't have Russell Wilson playing. The Browns didn't have Jalen Hurts playing. But they still had some of those players playing. And just to think that we beat both of those teams, it just baffles the mind. I mean, especially the Pittsburgh win. It baffles the mind. And a lot of people, people bother me when they start saying stuff like, well, the Pittsburgh Steelers are fraudulent. The Pittsburgh Steelers are fraudulent because they got beat by the Cleveland Browns. Do we not understand that rivalry games are a little bit different? You can be 10-0 and the other rivalry team be 0-10. Y'all playing each other different. Y'all playing each other like it's a playoff game. Y'all playing each other different. And so I'm not going to listen to folk say that the Pittsburgh Steelers are fraudulent because the Cleveland Browns beat them. No, they're not fraudulent. They're not fraudulent. I mean, the issue is they just got beat. And sometimes we don't take into consideration the Cleveland Browns were at home. That matters too. Cleveland Browns were at home. They were fighting hard. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they were fighting hard. I mean, it was just an absolutely great game. Because I was like, how can they even see some of the passes that Russell Wilson, some of the passes he threw, they were incredible. Even Jameis Winston. I'm like, how in the world are they completing these passes? How are they doing it? Jameis Winston, no mask on. I mean, I'm just like, man, the game was incredible. The game was incredible, man, especially when you consider it to be in the snow. And when you look at the game, and I think one of the factors in the game was, and I mean, you think about it. Both teams, they ran the ball. They didn't run the ball exceptionally well. Neither one of them had like a 100-yard rusher. Nick Chubb, he came in at the end. Nick Chubb did his thing at the end, and that was a part of the difference. Jameis Winston, it shows he has one interception. I thought he threw a touchdown. I guess he didn't. I thought he had threw one, though. Okay, he ran for one. That's what it was. Jameis Winston ran for a touchdown. Nick Chubb ran for 2 touchdowns. Russell Wilson, 21-28. Now, I do think one of the problems with the game last night was the red zone offense by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that made all the difference. They got a problem when they get in the red zone. They can't score. And I think they need to figure out something between Justin Fields. I think maybe they need to put Justin Fields the same way I think the Dallas Cowboys, even in this game. I think the Dallas Cowboys, if they get anywhere near the red zone with the Washington Commanders, If you get to the 20, put in Trey Lance. Put in Trey Lance. Him and Justin Fields both can run the ball similarly. Justin Fields got around that corner last night, man. It was almost lights out. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers need to work Justin Fields into their red zone offense and really become a force down there running the ball. And I think that's the same thing that the Dallas Cowboys need to do in this game with the Commanders, that if they get down there near the red zone, then they need to put in Trey Lance because he'll make your running game more potent. And you need to do that. And so that's why for me, last night, people sometimes, sometimes just think people they're so emotional when they're watching some of this stuff. But like I said, it was such a hard-fought game. I mean, what did anybody expect from Cleveland? I'm a little bit surprised they tried to win, but at the same time, Cleveland, in their minds, are probably thinking, we don't necessarily need a top 5, but if we get the top 5, it'll be great. But if we just get the top 10, because at the end of the day, the Cleveland Browns have their quarterback. They're going to be, I'm thinking last year, maybe the second to the last year of the Deshaun Watson deal, of which I have a feeling that Deshaun Watson, I got a strange feeling he's not even going to play next year. I mean, he won't be back. He won't be ready until midseason. And I'm bringing back Jameis Winston if it's me. And if Jameis Winston is winning, well, I'm probably going to have to continue. I'm telling you, this is probably going to go down as the worst contract in history, y'all. This is literally going to go down as the worst contract in history. $230 million. He has a $72 million cap hit next year. And he's not even going to play half the season. Deshaun Watson has barely played any of this. Look at this contract notes. Tell me this isn't crazy. $230 million guaranteed. Signing bonus plus 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026 salary. I don't think there's any way they get from under this thing. It's fully guaranteed. There's no way to get from under it. Language exists that will not forfeit signing bonus, avoid future guarantees. 2022 salary reduced from $1 million per 6-game suspension. $58 million of 2024, 2025 compensation is insured. Guess what just happened? He got hurt. Guaranteed money, y'all. There's nothing they can do with it. Nothing they can do with Deshaun Watson's deal. It's going to go down as the worst deal in history. But if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I'm going to bring back Jameis Winston. And if I get in the top 10, I could just get me a skill player. I can get me another skill player and start planning for getting from up under Deshaun Watson in 2026. Figuring out how I can kick his money down the road or something. But, man, they are in a catch-22. Wicked says the Tomlin haters came back in force, by the way. Oh, yeah. But, he's 8-3. I mean, what do people expect in rivalry games? I think this is what a lot of people are expecting out of the Cowboys Commanders game. A lot of people are thinking in their minds they're thinking it's a rivalry game. And I think it's really a rivalry game. I didn't even talk about this as the storyline. But I think that the Dan Quinn versus Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones is even a bigger storyline now than the Redskins or the Cowboys versus the Redskins. But see, that stuff used to matter back in the day. And we'll see if it matters to the Cowboys in this one. We'll see if it matters. Robert said Cleveland gave Baltimore fits too. They're a good team. They are a good team. But you got to, you got to finish the game. You got to finish the game. Jay Recruiter said Jameis is only 30. I hope he gets another chance. He looked pretty good last night to me. Jameis and Geno Smith doing well, and it's great to see. I love to see when these quarterbacks that people write off, because I'm going to tell you what the NFL does too much. I think the NFL too much takes a first-round quarterback, throws him into the fire, and hope he turns out like Patrick Mahomes. And then when he doesn't turn out like Patrick Mahomes, they throw him in the trash. They throw him in the trash, and they just become backup quarterbacks. And if they don't become backup quarterbacks, they're out the league. I hate the way they do this with these quarterbacks, because I think a lot of these quarterbacks need developing. I mean, even Shedeur Sanders. I think it would be great if Shedeur Sanders went somewhere and sat up under somebody. He's not going to do it. If we were back in the 70s and the 80s and even some of the 90s, it actually wouldn't be a problem bringing in the Shedeur Sanders, because you're basically going to develop him. But they don't do that these days. Quarterbacks get big deals, and they immediately throw them in. They think we can throw some players around them, and they either sink or swim. If they sink, we get another one. If they swim, we'll put some players around them, see if we can win the Super Bowl. And if he swam real good, we'll give him a contract, let some of those players go, and then we'll be, if we can continue to build, we'll continue to build and win, or we'll become content just being competitive. And that's how it goes. What the Jets did to Geno was ridiculous. Yep. That's why, for me, there's three teams I would never go to as a quarterback: Chicago Bears, Cleveland Browns, or the New York Jets. I would never go to those teams. Never. Quarterback killers. And that's why I'm laughing, man. Caleb Williams, he took himself out there. He took himself out there thinking, yeah, man, it's going to be this, that, and, and I understand you're getting the money. It is what it is on that part. But, man, you just got to face the facts, man. If you one of these quarterbacks and you go top 5, you're going to the worst team, man, you might as well get ready. You better prepare yourself to be bad for 3 or 4 years. And that's why I say Lamar Jackson was doing all that crying. But Lamar Jackson needs to understand something. Man, it was the best thing that could have happened to you. Going that late in the draft to a team that's winning, you didn't have to wait to win. Patrick Mahomes didn't have to wait to win. You don't have to wait like some of these quarterbacks do, get on these teams, and they be absolutely atrocious. It's crazy. So, man, I'm telling you, though, I really enjoyed the Pittsburgh game last night. It really was a throwback to me, because it reminded me of, why people love football so much. You don't get games in the elements like that anymore. And when you can get one of them, and because I was telling my wife, I was like, they better than me. I couldn't see myself playing in that weather. Man, them guys are tough, man. Those guys are tough. I would have checked out of that game. And to watch the coaches stand over there. Hoodies on. They don't even have on big coats. I'm like, wow, man. I don't know. Maybe they had a heater or something blowing towards them. But I'm telling you, they don't have enough heaters on them sidelines, man. They need to get more heaters over there, because that game last night was crazy. Wilson looked pretty good. Made some really good throws. Jameis Winston looked really, really good. Just a good game overall, man. Just a good game overall. Wicked said, I'd give Deshaun a message for just one of those millions. I will be bearing Chris Jansen buy me a boat the entire massage. You said I'd give the shot a massage for one of those millions. No, man, not me. Not some of the stuff they were saying he was doing the massages. He says I will be hearing Chris Jansen buying me a boat the entire massage. He said I also buy a used Black Ford Super Duty and a used black Volvo V&L Semi. Yeah, not me. He said I'm scratching my head on the Bears. I thought their defense was ready. Boy. Caleb Williams going, boy. Jay Army says, as a Tennessee Volunteers fans, I want Dallas to get their running back. He's a beast. And you can probably get him in the second as well and get a receiver in the first. That's what I'm saying, Jay Army. Because I think there will be quite a few people after these guys like the Ashton Genties of the world. And for me, I would much rather trade and get me some draft picks if somebody want them that bad. And then I would turn around and get me a running back who, how far below he is, how much lower is he than Ashton Genty? So I want to turn to some more news go down the line here as more news continues to matriculate. Y'all thought the Dallas Cowboys were a dumpster fire? Y'all thought the Dallas Cowboys were a dumpster fire. This stuff with Daniel Jones needs to be studied. This Daniel Jones stuff needs to be studied, y'all. It is absolutely crazy in the grand scheme when you think about it. It is absolutely crazy that they got rid of Daniel Jones. I mean, they literally cut him during the season. It's crazy to me they would do something like that. All right, y'all hold on just a second. Just got a warning here on my laptop. I forgot to bring my power cord upstairs. I'm about to go get my power cord. All right. Y'all go ahead and just hang in the chat for about 1 minute. I just got to run downstairs. I'll be right back. So, yeah, y'all thought the Cowboys were dumpster fire. The New York Giants they not only demoted Daniel Jones, they let Daniel Jones go. That is crazy to me. They let Daniel Jones go, y'all. I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think. I think it's going to be a minute before Daniel Jones gets another opportunity. I think it's going to be a minute before Daniel Jones gets another opportunity. And Daniel Jones, I'm going to tell you about Daniel Jones. It was crazy that people were saying that Daniel Jones was better than Dak Prescott. I thought that was literal insane talk. And now we got this same Daniel Jones. He out here in the streets. Wicked. Somebody needs to do a documentary on Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor has to be the most unluckiest quarterback ever. Tyrod Taylor should still be a starter in this league. I don't care what anybody say. Tyrod Taylor should be a starter. And I'm going to tell you about Tyrod Taylor. I'm going to tell you what I think about Tyrod Taylor and the problem with Tyrod Taylor. The Giants should have kept Tyrod Taylor and paid Barkley. They would be in the playoffs this year. There are so many teams that should have kept Tyrod Taylor. The year the Cleveland Browns had drafted Baker Mayfield. I'm sorry, Tyrod Taylor looked better than Baker Mayfield. But it was because they paid him, they let him play. Tyrod Taylor looked great with the Chargers. They punctured his lung. Punctured his lung with a needle. Tyrod Taylor looked good with the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to tell you what happened to Tyrod, at least what I believe. I could be totally wrong. But I'm going to tell you what I think happened with Tyrod Taylor. I think Tyrod Taylor is a victim of reverse racism. And y'all hear me out. I'm not trying to make it about black and white. But just like there used to be a stereotype about the black quarterback, there is still sort of a stereotype about the black quarterback. And we're just going to have to be 100% real. If you are a black quarterback, people expect you to be able to run. I'm just saying the quiet part out loud. What were people screaming for Dak to do the week that he got hurt? What were they screaming for him to do? Run the ball. People will, and people do this, in particular to a black quarterback. Sometimes they'll do it to a white quarterback, and they're saying the same thing, but in a different way. For example, if it's a black quarterback, he needs to run the ball. He needs to run the ball. Why does he need to run the ball? Because it's an expectation that he runs the ball. And so I think what got Tyrod Taylor is Tyrod Taylor wasn't a good runner of the ball. And so teams were like, well, no, we don't really want that. I'm just saying, I think that's a part of the issue with Tyrod Taylor. Because I do think it's getting to the point in the league, black or white, you better be able to run the ball as a quarterback. Because there's a good chance they're going to bring you in this league and your offensive line is either going to be rebuilding or it's not going to be good. A la Joe Burrow, anybody? Joe Burrow can scramble, but Joe Burrow's not a running quarterback. He's not a quarterback that can run per se. That's not his MO. He wants to stay in the pocket. Unfortunately, he ain't got the line to do it. So he's a sitting duck back there. So if he's not going to run the ball, then he's going to have some problems. The real Daryl said they play it for 2030. Man, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. I just don't understand it. I think he sued the doctor. I'm sure he won that one. And, you know, like I said, Tyrod Taylor is man, I'm telling you, just watch him. He's a great quarterback. But I think he's suffering from, but you don't run good. You know, and that's why people knocking Dak. That's why I say, see, Dak was I I would say Dak was a borderline running quarterback. He ran in Mississippi State. He was killing it. Dak needs to get him a running coach so he can be able to not necessarily, even if he's not going to be a quote-unquote runner of the football, he still needs to be able to scramble and run the ball. Because I'm telling you, in this league, man, you basically a sitting duck if you can't run somewhat. Black or white. And I think that's one of the issues. You know, people might not say the quiet part out loud, but I think that's a part of the issue with Tyrod Taylor. Wicked says that makes sense. They didn't ask Manning Brady. Yep, they didn't ask him to run because everybody knew they couldn't run. But I tell you who they are going to ask to run. I tell you, this kid right here, let me see. Man, let me tell you something. This kid, Texas Longhorns Arch Manning, this kid has an opportunity to surpass his uncles? Man, he has an opportunity to surpass them. This kid is talented. Man, he is talented. Talented. Can run the ball. Total opposite of the Mannings. Now, if I'm not mistaken, though, I think Peyton Manning's dad could run when he played for the Saints. I think he has some running skills. And so this kid from Texas, man, Arch Manning, man. Let me see. Who is his dad? I'm trying to figure out which one of them, because if I'm not mistaken, they're actually saying that one of these Manning's brothers was actually better than Peyton. This is just what I've heard or alluded to. That Cooper Manning, I think that's his name, Arch Manning's dad. They're saying that Cooper Manning was the best out of all of them. Y'all tell me in the chat if y'all know anything about this. But I heard this guy Cooper Manning could have been better than all of them. Okay, so he was a wide receiver. I thought there was one of, maybe I mixed up on something. Because they were saying that one of the brothers was an extreme athlete. Yeah, I heard that he was an extreme athlete. But nevertheless, this Arch Manning kid is going to be really good. But I digress. This Daniel Jones thing, y'all, is absolutely crazy. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the Giants are going to still owe Daniel Jones money. I think they are still going, because they extended his contract, and I think they're still, let me see. Maybe they don't owe him money. Let me see here. I'm going to show his contract on Sport Track. I wonder why. I think they're going to still owe him money. But that just goes to show you, man, they just didn't want him no more. Let me see here. This is his contract right here. Okay, so this is the deal. Okay, this is what they were saying about Daniel Jones. From what my understanding is, they cut Daniel Jones. So they wanted to make sure that he didn't get hurt, because if he wound up getting hurt or something to that effect, that there was a part of his salary that was going to kick in, and that part of the salary was going to be guaranteed also. So it shows here that his cap charge and so it looks like they basically got from up under his contract, and this is how they fixed it. So this is it. I'm seeing what they did. I see what y'all did now. This is what they were talking about. They wanted to make sure that there was no chance of Daniel Jones getting hurt. So they didn't have to pay him this number right here, $22 million. So for all intents and purposes, depending upon what they did with his contract, Daniel Jones' contract is dead in the water now. This is what they were trying to get from up under. So, people talking about, people picking him up. I'm not picking him up, because if I'm not mistaken, you would still have to do some of that money for this year. I'm not picking him up. I don't need him. Robert said, do you remember James Harris? Boy, do I remember. With the Rams or Jefferson Street or Joe Golian with Pittsburgh. Okay, James Harris with the Rams. I thought you were talking about the one that played for the Steelers. Robert M., typical Giants. But at least it's not Dak money. And the way they were talking, they said he was better than Dak. So, but the issue is, but I'm going to tell you something about these Giants. They never put an offensive line in front of him. They never did. They can say what they want to say. They never put an offensive line in front of Daniel Jones. They had problems on the offensive line even before Daniel Jones, and they never fixed it. They never gave him wide. Now, he got a wide receiver now. But now you're going to get rid of him. They never quite had the skill positions around him that he needed. And I think one of the mistakes they made, they should have never, ever, they should have never got rid of Saquon Barkley. They should have never got rid of Saquon Barkley. They should have found a way to keep both of them. They should have. They should have found a way to keep both of them. And when they let go of Saquon Barkley, they killed him. They did. They killed him. And so I just thought, I'm like, man, y'all think the Dallas Cowboys is a mess. Well, what in the world do you think about the Giants? Now, I guess for us, we're the Dallas Cowboys. 2, I guess the expectations might have been higher for us than it was for the Giants. And so maybe that's why people's reaction is more, even though they're destroying Daniel Jones, man, let me tell you something. You got to have thick skin. You got to have thick skin to play this sport, especially play quarterback, especially if you're going to play quarterback in some of these areas where, in some of these areas like the Dallas Metroplex, you're going to play in New York, you're going to play in some of those places. Man, you better have thick skin. Philadelphia is one of them places too. If you don't have thick skin, you can't play in Philadelphia. They'll skin you alive over there. And so you have to be real, real careful. Yep, Robert, you remember the Carson Wentz-Dak comparison? All that stuff is hilarious now. Dak Prescott has basically outlasted all of them except for Jared Goff. And then when we look at what they've done for Jared Goff, they basically put a super team around Jared Goff. That's what they did. And I'm hoping that's what Jerry Jones is about to do in this upcoming season. But I got a lot more to talk about, but I'm not going to be able to talk about it tonight. We've almost went 3 hours, and so I'll save the rest for the Saturday show, and I'm going to pick up on the Dak Prescott, the Stephen Jones, and the Micah Parsons thing, and maybe there'll be something else that'll come across the wire. But we'll do our final Dallas Cowboy preview tomorrow. I'll kind of go over this, and maybe there'll be some more developments on the injuries and all of those different things. But we'll talk about some more of this stuff as it pertains to the Dallas Cowboys. Just fascinating, man. The Dallas Cowboys are not even in the playoffs, and they are still big news. And I think the Cowboys will continue to be big news because you either love the Dallas Cowboys or you hate them. There's no in between. Y'all make sure if you're on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe. If you're listening to me on X, make sure you hit that bookmark. So you know the next time I post another video on Let's Talk Cowboys, We Talk Facts. Again, appreciate all y'all. Till the next time, peace.